Comic Timing is member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/comic timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. For as little as $1 a month, you get some behind the scenes access. We may be adding some extra features as well in the next couple of weeks, so do stay tuned to that. Some articles by Chris Naudis and some behind the scenes audio and video. So we thank you very much once again over at patreon.com/comic timing. You guys are great. Hey there, folks. My name is Ian Levinstein, and welcome to episode 276 of Comic Timing. Pardon my dust this week, as I've got a cold or something that's making me sound a little froggy. So I'm going to be doing my best to not talk as much as I usually talk on these episodes and only be as poignant as I possibly can in order to ensure that I don't entirely lose my voice by the end of the night. So we'll see how that works. But either way, we got a nice panel of crew with us. Blue team here, Jamal Eigel back again. Jamal, how are ya?
I am good. I hope you feel better soon, Ian. Hello, everybody. It's been a while.
It has, and thank you very much. Raf Su, who cannot be here because he feels worse than I do right now. So feel better soon, Raf. And yes, drink as much chicken soup as humanly possible. Chris Naudis here as well. Hey, Chris.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, guten Tag.
It's about right. I mean, it could be any time at all when they're listening to this. So any of those
It's the magic of podcasting. You could be listening to me walking through a cemetery, admiring the lovely snow, which is how I usually listen to podcasts these days.
Yes, because guess what? It's been snowing a lot here in New York. Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
May it melt soon. Donovan Morgan Grant here in probably a less snowy location, I'm guessing.
Now I am. About 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, we had to evacuate our house and stay at a hotel for several days because we had a terrible winter storm down here in Nashville. Mm-hmm. But that was then. Hi, everybody. Go buy the new DC History of the Dakota Incident out at available local comic book stores today.
Yes. And glad that you're no longer evacuating your house, because if there's one thing that your area is not used to is storms like we normally have. So, yes.
18 inches? I don't know if we got that much. That's crazy.
Oh, my God. Jeez. Yeah. And here just in time for me to introduce him, it's Brent Cassina. Hey, Brent.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. At least that's one of us. All right. Anyway,
he's just happy because he doesn't have to shovel or stomp through yellow and black snow or anything horrible like that.
Oh,
believe it or not, my heater's not on the fritz. It's been on and off. It's been a thing.
Yeah,
we can't handle 30-degree weather at nights multiple days in a row. Apparently. No,
30-degree weather where you are should happen once in a December, and that's about it, man. I mean, you go below 60 there, and it's like a national, a state emergency. So
everybody freaks out. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's warm you all up with some comic conversation here. Before we do, just some housekeeping notes real quick. I posted about it on the Comic Timing fan group, but for any of you folks, I mean, if you're listening to this, then I assume that it's already resolved. But if any of you guys are having issues with the feed in any way, shape, or form, please let me know. We recently migrated the feed over to a new host, Red Circle, and that's where we're going to be hosting our files for the foreseeable future. You'll still be able to find us at comictiming.net. There's also a Red Circle page now, but I'm going to be cross-posting everything to there. It's just the actual feed for the show redirects to the Red Circle feed. So if you clicked on the feed directly from comictiming.net, it will redirect you to that. Should be there on Apple Podcasts and any of the other places that you find podcasts at this point. But again, if you're having any issues, just let me know, and I'll try to address them as they come up. The other thing of note is that It's not happening yet, but there will be a point in the future where we may very well have some small ad breaks in the middle of our episodes here. That is part of the integration with Red Circle. I'll let you guys know when it's going to happen. It's not happening anytime soon that I'm aware of, but when it does happen, you're just going to hear me. It's not going to be like random insertion ads about condoms or anything like that. It's just going to be, promos that are relevant to you, hopefully, and will, basically help us support the show in other ways. So
if you're reading them and doing double entendres like that, insertion of condoms, they are lucky to have you.
Oh, you're damn.
Especially with that voice that you're doing right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, I should do all of the promos when I'm a little bit sick, because that'll just add that extra raspiness to it. That'll just be that much more delightful in the end, I'm sure. Hey, everybody, are you ready?
Those book talk girlies are going nuts right now.
I know. I feel like I'm about to hear the smooth stylings of Ian Levinstein.
And so crack up your latest copy of Zodiac Academy and listen to this ass.
And coming up next, some smooth jazz. That's right, some smooth jazz. All right, baby. Leave those snakes alone. All right, anyway. Well, let's get to topics of conversation here. Before we get into our thoughts and opinions on Wonder Man, which is the main reason why we are here, I wanted to get a little bit into DC and Marvel crossover information that has been coming out. Obviously, we discussed in previous previews and previous episodes that there were going to be some crossovers involving Superman and Spider-Man. Those are now fully confirmed at this point. Marvel's going to have theirs. DC is going to have theirs. They're also doing facsimile editions of the original Superman and Spider-Man crossovers from the 70s.
Right.
But the biggest news that came out this week is one that I, honest to God, did not see coming. And that is there will be facsimile editions released of the entire run of JOA Avengers. And this was
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. This is brand new news that came out about 4 days ago. And basically every other issue is going to be printed by the other company. So issue 1 is going to be by Marvel, issue 2 by DC, and then so on and so forth until they reach the end of the 4-issue miniseries. But from there, one could only hope there will be a collection available for more than the 1,000 people that got a hold of it the last time around. Because seriously, but this is huge news, quite frankly, because this is something that was a stumbling block for many years to get back into print because of the relationship between Marvel and DC. And literally the only reason why they did it the last time is because George Perez died. So very happy.
I feel like his passing and them putting that out there a couple of years ago, they were probably like, at least on maybe the lawyer side, we're like, hey, you know what? This actually was not that difficult to do. So maybe that's what spirited, and if it did, it did so well, it was for Hero Initiative. I know there were only a limited number of copies, which I thought was like, honestly, it was kind of dumb. Like,
yeah.
Because you still have people out there trying to sell it for hundreds of dollars, and it's not that money's not going to Hero Initiative. I thought they should have reprinted as much as they wanted and gone all to Hero Initiative because it would have sold like gangbusters. But I hope they do reprint the newer version of the trade. I have the older one. If they do that, at least maybe. I know people are hoping for like the reprint of the Absolute, but
no, I have an Absolute copy. So, but this is, there's no reason for them to have not done it before now. It's good. I like the idea that they're splitting the costs of actually printing the facsimile editions. That's a good way to go. But I think overall, I really appreciate, as an observer, I really appreciate the spirit of cooperation that DC and Marvel seems to be sharing at the moment. I don't know how long that'll last. You know how these things are, especially if there's like a change in leadership. But with between CB and on the Marvel side and Marie Chavins on the DC side.
Yeah.
There at least seems to be a willingness for them to collaborate more.
Well, it's definitely, at least in my side, it feels like the change in leadership was the right change in leadership. The people who don't have a bug up their ass about this, because
True.
for
All that came into my brain as we were talking about this just now. I was like, I don't want to turn the conversation negative, so I won't. But truly and honestly, like I feel that like, the young people kind of getting into comics don't know this, but this was this is my childhood in the 90s where it was just like, hey, every few years let's do a crossover. We love comics. And
Right.
20 years after that, or after that was 20 years of, like that, needlessly. And now it's like, hey, Jorge Jimenez, he can draw Spider-Man, he can draw Superman. Wouldn't you want to see that? Dan Mora loves Deadpool and Batman. It's like, I don't know. The positivity is just, it's heartwarming to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to throw something out there about that, it reminds me of, was it a recent episode? I remember Jamal pointing out that comics, in terms of both Marvel and DC, are small parts of larger corporations. They're rounding errors on the sheets, and I'm thinking that because that Marvel and DC are these small potatoes, they're no longer, like, how do I say, in charge of their own destinies. That they have that. They're beneath notice now, so they can kind of just do things for the sake of the art, for the sake of the industry, for the sake of their own goddamn humanity at this point. Like, yeah, when you're like a corporation, you're always going to have this animosity towards your rival corporations. But yeah, since they're small potatoes now, so what's the point of hating each other anymore?
Oh yeah, I like looking back to the what Donovan was saying, looking back to the 90s, like the fact that we had a crossover in 1996 between Kyle Rayner and Silver Surfer, like that's something that in today's world my brain couldn't fathom as a possibility again until we got the weirdness that was Batman, Deadpool, and now the goddamn does that make sense of Superman, Spider-Man again. Like this is something that was commonplace in the mid 90s and then just wasn't for a long time, and now hopefully will be commonplace again. Like friendliness is a lot easier to do than stupid rivalry for no reason. Like you're all gonna have your fans. Like there's no reason to not love each other.
Yeah, I don't know anybody, and I never was ever, do you prefer DC? Do you prefer Marvel? Well, I prefer one or the other. That means I hate the other company. I don't know any fan who was ever really like that. I think that
I've known him.
Really, because like I know that like it was fun to kind of kick DC in the balls every now and then because Marvel could be hotter, especially in the 90s. But I think there was a lot of quality in 90s DC. But I mean, I think that genuinely, like the idea that like if you were a fan of one company, you would hate the other. I mean, that's just something that you might find like The Big Bang Theory or something, a show I never watched. Like that never felt to me like as a felt reality of a comic book fan, as opposed to like what I assume sports or wrestling is. And I think that like that kind of being embodied by the editors for a time felt like an unforced error, just because
Right.
it was so embodied through, the DC and Marvel and amalgam. And we had two Batman Spider-Man crossovers, two Batman Punisher crossovers, as you mentioned, Green Lantern, Silver Surfer, Superman, Fantastic Four. I don't know if Wonder Woman had any crossovers with anybody, but like it was just like I don't know, it was just like in the time of Elseworlds, it felt so common. And now that we're kind of doing it again and kind of embracing it, we've had like, the Nightwing, um, Wolverine crossover along with the Deadpool Batman one or whatever. It's almost like waking up from a coma. It's like the previous couple of decades, either didn't happen or they kind of just really pushed in the rear view.
Yeah. Well, there was not a Wonder Woman crossover. However, there has now been Captain America and Wonder Woman teaming up in World War II, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Terry Dodson.
Oh yeah.
as one of the backups. But yeah, Wonder Woman kind of had that cool off period where she wasn't nearly as big, and I think that happened to like coincide a little bit with the 90s, which is why they never really had like a crossover with a Marvel counterpart outside of DC versus Marvel, which I mean again that ever happened in our childhoods Like
Oh,
it basically
nostalgic.
it basically is DCKO only with Marvel included with it and less Darkseid. But same general premise of like who would win in a fight, and then you actually got to vote on it. Sure, not every single person who voted on it actually tipped the tide, because I know that there were one or two times where editorial stepped in and said, even though the votes said this, we're going this way. But either
Captain
way,
America, Batman.
yeah, exactly. Captain America, Batman as a perfect example there. But it just makes sense. Like, this is not Pepsi and Coke. Like, these are contemporaries. So many artists, writers are not exclusive and write for both companies. Like, it just makes sense to play nice and spread the wealth a little bit, especially in an era where sales may not be what they once were. And if you're going to throw your fans a bone every now and then, do it. It just makes perfect sense. So very much hope
it's a pure
just
profit
briefly,
thing right now.
Yeah.
Did you guys vote during DC versus Marvel
Oh,
as kids? I don't know how old Jamal was, but I totally did.
I think I might have once.
During DC versus Marvel. When was DC versus Marvel?
DC
96.
Marvel
96.
96, yeah.
96? I probably did.
There was ground floor on that.
I was 24? So,
Were you an intern at that time?
No, I was an intern when I was 17. That was I had already been working in the business a couple of years at that point. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mostly doing indie stuff. So
I think there might have been a phone number that you could call that my parents may have let me call exactly once because it cost money. And that might have been the bulk of me voting. But I didn't do any write-in votes. I know that for sure.
You got to explain this to
summer
the younger
event.
generation. A phone number that costs money to call because you were calling from a landline,
Yes.
maybe even a rotary dial phone, like those old phones with the numbers around the circle.
Paying for phones is still a thing you have to do, Brent. Like, Eurovision costs €1 per vote by phone.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, only
I mean,
three
a
of
lot
us
of
in
it's
this
like
call
text,
watch
like
that.
the voice is all
Yeah.
text now, or they want you to download the app so they can sell you ads or whatever. But
Well,
people used to
yeah.
call 1-900 numbers.
I think that the closest thing
$3.99
to
per
how it
minute.
used to be was American Idol, I guess. However, it does it now is probably like
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
closest
That's
it was back then.
Yeah. And I had to explain to an 11-year-old what a house phone was a couple days ago. And I literally went into the other room and I picked it up and I said, it's right here. Your house literally has one. I'm sure you never use it, but it's right here. And she was like,
My house does not have one.
We have one.
No house phones here.
We have one right here. There you go. Yep. And guess what? We never use it.
It's usually included. Yeah, it's usually included with like your cable subscription. You're like, I don't need this, and they're like, yeah, but we're putting it in anyway.
We get call we get robocalls that literally say Celeste, and then I hang up. That's like all the time. Like that's it. Like that's the only person who calls this damn thing.
It's all these reprints though they're pure profit. Like, I'm sure once they did the omnibus ones and those did very well, they were like, how can we, everybody keeps asking for JLA Avengers. No one really wants a facsimile of the 90s stuff, right? Like, get the omnibus. But
Right.
JLA Avengers is like, oh, we know that will sell because A, it's JLA, B, it's Avengers, and Avengers is hot now. It wasn't really hot when they were coming out. It was like they did JLA X-Men, back then.
Yeah.
But in George Perez, the legendary artist, like it's pure profit. So it makes business sense after you see the numbers from the omnibuses, after you see the numbers from Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool, and all the pre-sale numbers for the Spider-Man, Superman ones and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure they're like, oh yeah, this is an easy win.
Plus, they don't have to reformat it. The files are all probably just sitting on a hard drive somewhere in DC offices. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because of the more recent collection. Like this was all digitized. It would be great if it's also available digitally because they're not unless you go to a pirate site at this point, for JOA Avengers. Like, I don't know how a profit share would even work with that, unless they do a profit share where like issue 1's profits go to Marvel, issue 2's to DC or something like that.
They did figure it out for Deadpool Batman, I think, finally showed up on Comixology. I don't think Batman Deadpool has shown up yet.
Okay.
But it was months later, because I remember at the time when it was coming out, like they said it wasn't going to be available digitally, so I got my butt to a shop to pick them up physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably because like Batman Deadpool is going to go into DC Universe Infinite, and Deadpool Batman, which is the Greg Capullo drawn one, is technically a Marvel book, I guess.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's on Marvel Unlimited, and the other one's on Infinite. Exactly. Yeah. Although, since you mentioned it, Brent, I will also bring up pretty much everybody who used to work for Comixology, who was still left at Amazon, got laid off in the latest group of layoffs at Amazon. So it's all Kindle now.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's been Kindle forever, and honestly, they've done a terrible job keeping that theory alive. Like, I think there's still a couple of Comixology Unlimited or Comixology originals, but the last push I heard about them was the one Jamal was part of, which is now like 3 years ago with, and he was on the second wave of that with the Dudley Datsun and the Forever Machine. Did I get it right? But there was Snyder and company didn't re-up with Comixology. I don't know. And Dark Horse, they didn't do a second wave. They didn't go get another creator to do another round of books for them. So I don't know how it worked for Amazon. They're certainly not pushing their Comixology Unlimited very well. They're not like announcing the new titles being added. They're still adding new stuff every month, but it feels like it's not advertised. It's not even saying like, hey, by the way, we updated this. Like, I still have my Comixology Unlimited subscription going on probably 10 years now, mainly because there's books on my subscription that I checked out from the library, and I still have them checked out, and I have not read them yet. So anytime I open up my iPad, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to read this. Because once I read all of them, I could get rid of it.
Right.
But I haven't yet. But I think that is the appeal. And what's also weird too with Amazon, like some of them will be Comixology Unlimited rentals, right? And then some other titles will show up, fewer will show up as Kindle Unlimited titles.
Yeah.
Because now you have this Kindle Color device.
Right.
Which I think I saw in a Best Buy. I haven't seen of course, they don't have like a, God forbid you throw a comic book on there to get a comic book reader to buy it. But I don't think it would work really well. I did download a comic book on my wife's Kindle once just to see what it would look like in black and white, and it was an awful experience compared to reading it on a tablet with the faster processor.
Manga looks really good on a Kindle, or at least it can. Obviously, you're still losing a little bit of depth, but anything that's supposed to be black and white does actually look very good on a basic Kindle.
And I feel like that would work also because most mangas, 6x9, the Kindle closer to the Kindle size as opposed to trying to look at Jamal's artwork in black and white on a screen that big is not great.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. But as I tell my students, I'm a sociopath. So,
and I guarantee you, Brent, we are a year. I'm not even saying 5 years. We are a year away from Comixology Unlimited being folded into Kindle Unlimited, like just straight up. Like, there's no reason to have the two separate subscriptions at this point, outside of making people pay more money for a separate subscription if they want, books versus comics. Like, it makes way less sense now that it is just the Kindle app to have a Comixology Unlimited subscription.
What is more baffling to me, to pivot to the guys that used to work, can't name their names. You probably have an article in front of you or something, but all the guys who started Comixology, sold Comixology, waited 5 years or whatever it's been, and then went and started another, basically Comixology business.
Yeah, Neon Ichiban, and I think they're also behind. Are they behind Distillery also? They are behind Distillery, but Distillery is taking a hiatus.
Okay, but I'm just as a consumer, I'm just like, wait, why did you sell to Amazon in the first place? Like, I get it. You can't turn down money like that.
And you
But
just
if you're
gave,
just
you
gonna
just gave
wait
the
5 years and start a new version of the same damn company, like,
answer.
what are you
Well, no,
doing?
because so Brent, what happened was Chip Mosier was still involved after the sale. Chip Mosier and John Roberts were still involved with Comixology after sale.
Yeah, yeah.
They did not leave Comixology. Chip didn't
Amazon
leave.
left them.
Yes, basically. Like Chip basically, like, he left. He was there for probably like up until 2021, 2022.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess
so
I'm just questioning the business logic of like you've had people like me that have been on Comixology since 2011
Mm-hmm.
right.
buying books, and then you sell it, and then you get the hankering years later, even after you left, whatever, we'll give the guys the benefit of the doubt, to start a new business, which is the same as the old business, and then
Mhm.
hope that the people that like the way you ran the business the first time, which I'm one of them, right?
Right.
Um, will then go switch to a new service, a new supplier of these books where
Mhm.
the library doesn't transfer and you're way smaller player now compared to Amazon. So now I have to hope also in the same vein that like, you're also going to stick around. Like Global Comics is around now.
Mhm.
They're also selling stuff of all different publishers and things like that. Gosh, what was the one? There was like a digital comics company that Dave Gibbons partnered with long ago. I want to say Mega Comics or
Oh,
whatever, and they were doing kind of a motion comics. Like, where are those guys?
yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Gibbons was involved. Uh, Liam Sharp was the art
Yes,
director.
yes.
Actually, I can't remember the name
Yeah, I think
of
it
the
started with an
company.
M. It was either an
You're
M, but I know
probably
I
right.
Gibbons
don't
had a
remember
character
either.
with like a T on his face or something like that, and it was like a policeman, kind of like Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
But
There.
anyway,
Yeah.
I think it's hold on, let's see here. Made Fire, I think.
Made
Yes.
Fire.
Made Fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great name. I tried their app out. I thought it was cool. I read they were giving away the stories for a little while at least, or a
Yeah.
couple like teasers. They were cool,
Yeah. They shut
but
down.
like
They shut down.
yeah.
Well. Yeah.
And then
No.
so what
It's the
happens to
same.
your purchases after that? They're just gone. They're in the ether.
Unfortunately, it's the same problem that every digital comics platform tends to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's the technology. The technology is not portable in a way that is cool for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to remember that the coolness factor for technology is always the thing that really pushes things over. It's the difference between Google Glass and the Ray-Bans, the Meta Ray-Bans. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Meta Ray-Bans, dumb as they are, look cooler than the Google Glass, and more people are willing to buy them and to wear them, even if the battery power and the actual storage power is, garbage. But that's for comics. And it isn't just comics. It's the people have been counting on the migration from print media to digital for over a decade at this point, and hasn't really taken hold the way that they've wanted it to, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So until we get that device, like, I always imagined that device would be like, do you guys remember a TV show called Earth Final Conflict?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sounds
Okay.
familiar.
Yes.
You remember the Global from Earth Final Conflict, the handheld reader that they had that was, yes.
That thing was
So
amazing.
it was, and that is the thing, that type of device, something more portable than a Kindle or an iPad, and the size, relative like collapsibility of a cell phone, like a current, like, you know, portable cell phone that we have now, that's able to expand to have the kind of like big screen experience that people want from an e-reader. That's going to be the thing that really pushes the print media over to fully embracing digital. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
We probably won't even get there for like another 20 years, unfortunately. That's just, this technology has not advanced as quickly as people would want it to, at least in that regard. There isn't a flexible reader that is sturdy enough and powerful enough to have a satisfying viewing experience. For
I
most.
would say we weren't that far from that because we have those rollable TVs, which are not adapted yet, right? Like nobody's
Right.
gonna go out and buy those. But the fact that the technology exists means that with usually considering the scale of technological progress, that would have been a consumer technology within a few years, except that AI is eating up all the RAM now, so we're not getting any of that cool shit anymore.
Right.
You know, again, we've never done an AI episode, but I could go on. I know Jamal could go on about copyright infringement, and I could go on about how they fucked us
Yeah.
technologically.
We're probably about a month or two away from finally doing that AI episode, and this is going to be me the entire episode. I'm just going to be sitting back and just letting Jamal rant, and it'll be delightful and glorious, and I won't even have to say a word. It'll be great.
Well, it would be a twofold ramp, because we could talk about the copyright infringement issue, but we could also talk about the 5 million gallons of water that each data processing center processes per day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And guess what? Those are the words we're going to say about it right now. Otherwise, we'll be talking about it for 2 hours. But what I will
space.
Yeah. But going back to the starting up companies after selling off your company and stuff like that, I feel like tech moguls literally do this all the time, where they sell a company to another company, they're with that company for a little while, and then they start up another company that's really similar to the last company that they sold off in the first place. Like
it's money flow. It's money flow.
Yeah.
It's basically you started a company, the company was a good idea, but you don't know how to make it work in the long term. So some bigger company that clearly seems to know their shit offers you money, throws it at you, and you're like, awesome, cool. I don't have to run this company into the ground. So you take the money, but you still want to do the thing. But now the thing is, when you get that buyout, now you have this pool of money, which is probably larger than whatever money you started the first company with, and you figure, oh well, I'll probably learn from my mistakes or whatever. But yeah, it's you're right. Like, and yeah, with the whole staying with the company for a while, that's called an acqui-hire, and that's very standard practice.
Yeah,
because the people who are buying your company know that you're probably one of the reasons the company even works. Though I'm never going to understand late stage capitalism, because it's fascinating to me how we'll buy a company and then like 2 years later shut it down.
Oh yeah.
Y'all must have taken a lot of business classes when you were in school.
Well, we've read too much tech articles basically, and been involved with tech companies. So been there, done that very, very recently, as a matter of fact. Anyway, what I will say is, going back to what Brent said also about, like why would you buy into a new platform, like stuff like that? There have been platforms other than the one that we just mentioned that Gibbons was involved with that have shut down in the past, 5 years, where basically it was back up your files until this date, or you can't read your comics anymore. Dark Horse had a standalone comics app that shut down not too long ago. Marvel had their app through Comixology, where they were at least nice enough to give you the option to import your comics library that were Marvel comics into the Marvel Unlimited app. So even if you don't have a Marvel Unlimited subscription, you can read the comics that you owned on the standalone Marvel app. That was really smart of Marvel, but they are Marvel and they can afford to do that.
There's no option for Global Comics or Neon Ichiban to be like, like T-Mobile to Sprint, like keep your T-Mobile to Verizon, keep your number and switch from one to the other. Like they're not going to be like import your library. Hell no.
Omnibus was another company. I just looked it up now. Like I remember when Omnibus launched, it was supposed to be like the big digital comics indie competitor to Comixology and stuff like that, and that shut down in 2024. Like it didn't have the staying power.
The other thing with Neon Ichiban that bugs me is like I don't even know if they launched. I'm on the wait list, and it's like where just to look at the damn thing. The only thing I've seen is like Bleeding Cool said a couple of weeks ago, like what was it? Oh yeah, and speaking of Dave Gibbons again, so he's involved with these things. He Neon Ichiban is this digital comics company, and their hook that makes them different than Global Comics and Comixology is that you can buy a digital remark of your favorite artist, and it'll be unique to you or something bullshit like that.
Right.
Call it an
Yeah.
NFT. So they're selling
Yeah.
remarks from Dave Gibbons that he did digitally somewhere, and for like $75, and then it's even more expensive if it's on Watchmen #1 versus Watchmen #2. So Jamal, what are you waiting for? Come on, get on that Molly Danger Supergirl #30 BS train and sell it before this movie comes out, bro.
I know,
But
right?
yeah, I just don't like what happened. Like any NFT, it's not an NFT. It just exists on this site. So if they eventually close, like what happens to your $150 your digital remark from Dave
Right.
Gibbons?
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be able to sell it and trade it on their site, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, who gives a shit?
Well,
Yeah, I don't know how any of that is supposed to work. I
and,
really
and,
don't.
and looking at their actual site, I mean, I just had it up on the screen for a little bit there. It looks just like the old Comixology site. Like
does.
the scroll, like the featured list, like it is almost a carbon copy to what they had at Comixology, which makes sense because they're the same dudes. But like, I was hoping for something that would maybe even be a little bit easier to read. But looking at the site, it's almost exactly the same. So, I don't know. I mean, look, I wish them well, and I hope they succeed. I ain't buying into it, quite frankly. Like not anytime soon. And if I do, I'm sure as hell not doing the remark thing because, like, to me, the whole NFT craze like never made any sense, and this is basically almost that. Like, I know it's a little bit different, but it's pretty damn similar to it. And to me, unique digital does not compute to my brain. It's like you got to be
Right.
physical for me to actually. Like, if I could display it on a shelf and be like, "Ooh, shiny," then that's real to me. Not it's real to me, damn it. That's for you, Jamal. But like digital, like that just seems like fish oil. Like no, it's not. It's not gonna work for me. So
NFTs died 2 years ago, so you're almost like 2 years too late to this market. And I think they were been talking about it for at least a year. So I don't know what they must have had a huge delay, but yeah.
Also, I want to do well. Actually, Ian, I think you meant snake oil because fish oil
Yes.
is actually good for your joints.
well, actually,
Yeah, so
Chris.
I had that earlier this morning.
well, actually, Chris. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's what I meant. So.
I don't really care. I just thought it was very funny.
No,
Because I'm like, the thing, it's just that what you said. I was like, that is the opposite of what you're trying to say.
And once again, that is exactly what usually winds up coming out of my mouth. So thank you very much for the clarification on that. Snake oil. Don't ingest snake oil. Enough said.
It's like, well, I'll just say I made a Bluesky post the other day where I was like, what people need to stop misspelling canon when they're talking about like head canon. And I'm like, head canon with 2 N's is a very different thing than head canon with 1 N.
That's like a tick character.
Oh my god, it actually really is. Now that you mention it, like, how has there not been a tick character named Headcanon?
Oh, the tick.
Spoon.
Speaking of the 90s.
Yes.
Chairface Chippendale.
But right,
yeah.
one more quick topic before we get into Wonder Man. Considering the people that are on this call, happy 20th anniversary to New York Comic Con. This was the weekend that the 2006 New York Comic Con took place.
I am so old.
Yeah, seriously. I know. Yeah. I remember when New York Comic Con was bigger and better with double the space in 2007, like still embedded in my brain, the frickin' copy I had to read for New York Comic Con to get into the podcast arena. But
Yes.
2006, oh my God, I was still in college. It was episode 24 of the Geek Speak podcast. Me walking around New York Comic Con with a mini disc recorder, getting interviews with people like Mike Norton on the floor, Chris Staros, Paul Levitz. I didn't even really know who Paul Levitz was at the time, so I looked like an idiot when I was interviewing him. But go
I think
figure.
I shamed you for that because I know
no,
I was
I
there
know.
with you on the Friday. I was just like shaming you. I was like, "You
Yep.
sweet summer child."
Did you guys watch X-Men 3 that weekend?
No, we didn't actually. But we did get to watch at the con. Remember the Ultimate Avengers movie?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I never actually watched those, but I remember those. Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to a little bit of myself talking about it, which was very weird because I actually sound younger and it's frightening. But what I said, I do remember very clearly, which is the movie felt like a pilot to an animated series that didn't exist. Like
Yes.
it felt like it was leading to something, and yeah, they eventually made other movies, but like it was watered down Ultimates, and not in a great way. It wasn't terrible,
No.
don't get me wrong, but like the voice acting was a little iffy at times. Samuel L. Jackson, fake Samuel L. Jackson, didn't quite work for me.
Yeah, they had to shave the rough edges off of Ultimate Cap so
Oh,
he
yeah.
wouldn't come off as such
I
a
bet they
giant
did.
dick.
Yeah,
Oh
And
man,
probably Ultimate Hank Pym as well.
man, the 2000s were black.
No, not as much. Like they were really nice when it came to Cap. The one thing that I remember about New York Comic Con is that Artist Alley, where I was in the Crystal Pavilion,
yes.
where the media room
Oh, wow.
is now. Like
Yeah.
all of Artist Alley fit in the Crystal Pavilion.
That was 2007. I remember because that was
Yeah.
the year that the Podcast Arena launched, and that's where the podcasters were as well. So Artist Alley was in the Crystal, and then downstairs was basically the exhibition floor.
Right.
And that was the year that they also expanded to have the actual main floor of the Javits, but not the entire main floor of the Javits.
No.
Be the exhibition hall, and then there were some panel rooms in the basement.
Right, because weren't they sharing it with a car show that year?
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah. Which was also the fate of the anime convention that Reed put on a couple times, where like they were sharing it with some weird ass conventions.
Right.
Damn it.
But that's always fun when like people are going by in full cosplay, and then you see like these 75-year-olds that are looking to sell windows, being like, what the hell? So that used to happen at Baltimore Comic Con all the time.
Well, it happened, and C2E2 had that with it was like a bathroom fixtures convention or whatever, and those people were just coming right into the con because I guess whoever was checking badges didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So I do remember seeing those people because they stood out a lot. You think you've seen a lot of weird things at Comic Cons, and there's nothing that will stick in your mind more than someone who's clearly not supposed to be there.
Oh my God. Yep.
Get this nerd out of the way.
The one thing that I'll display here from the old speakgeekspeak.com website that hasn't been updated in 15 years or whatever. I do have copies of some of the sketches that I got at that weekend. The Kid Flash sketch that I got from Todd Knock.
Nice.
I also got a Omax sketch from Jesus Saez that weekend. And
I actually remember that because you bought like the shittiest sketchbook at like
I know.
Dwayne Reed, and he was unhappy because his pencil was going right through the paper.
I remember that entirely.
You can see it in the sketch how it's rough, like the fingers, the paper might have torn there.
Yep, and then this is the better sketchbook that I wound up getting, where Daniel Acuna made me a nice Superman sketch. So yeah.
Nice one, yeah.
It was a great weekend. I still remember very clearly being stuck outside the hall when the fire marshals were called in 2006.
I remember that now.
Yep, and Dan DiDio was right there with us because I remember passing him in line, and he was like, "Yep, can't get in, nothing that I can do, can't get in." So
That sounds like him. Just like a
times.
Hanna-Barbera character.
Hey, boo boo, I'm Dan DiDio. Hey, boo boo. Hey.
Oh man.
Did I ever tell you guys the world's shortest Dan DiDio story?
Probably,
We have time.
but we have time, so go right ahead.
Okay, very quickly. So I'm working on Titans, on Teen Titans, and Dan's writing, and
Yeah.
I'm at DC's offices, and Dan sees me from down the hall and goes, Jamal, yes, Dan, pages next week, good, and goes whirling off in the distance like the fucking Tasmanian devil. It was literally the shortest conversation I'd ever had with the man.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. 100% Dan,
Oh yeah,
in every description. And,
absolutely.
and even to this day, I do appreciate that there is a comic timing interview with Dan DiDio from MegaCon. That Brent took part in, and was that that was our first year there, right, Brent? If I remember correctly.
Our first year was a magic year.
Yes, it was.
That's why it's never been duplicated.
Hey, second year came close.
Like
all right, second year came close. Brandon,
2007 this is?
This is 2000. Let's see what year was.
I want to say 8.
Yeah, I think 2008 is probably closer. Let's see, MegaCon. Blah, blah, blah. And every single time I say MegaCon in my head, I go, MegaCon, forgive me. All right. Yeah.
Slave forever.
2008 was the year where it was Brent, Brandon, Raph, and I. So there was 2008, then there was 2009, and then in 2010 we basically split duty because MegaCon was the same weekend as Emerald City. So Brent attended MegaCon, and that was when I was still in Seattle. So I attended Emerald City, and we got some interviews from both basically. So
what's the most amount of cons you guys have done in a single year?
13.
Oh my god.
Well,
when I was at Action Lab, I did 13 shows a year for 3 years straight.
Goddamn.
3 years straight. Shit.
For me, it was probably about 7, if I remember correctly, because that's between anime cons and comic cons. So I think that was probably about my peak.
2023, I did C2E2 for the first time, only time so far. NYCC, that might have been the first time I met you guys in person.
Yep.
SDCC, that might be it. I also did BGSU that year. There was a Spider-Man convention. I met Rick Leonardi at that conference, and then NYCC was I think like the next week, and I met him again in Artist Alley, which is cool.
Nice.
So it's like 3.5.
Yeah, I think I'm like top out usually around 6 or 7. But I think my average is probably going to be like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
You know,
these days it's basically PAX Unplugged, New York Comic Con, and if I can get to it, like one of the small indie ones. Like I'm not doing a lot of traveling for conventions at this point. But I may want to someday hit up Tampa Comic Con if it winds up with when I can be down there. Because I feel like I always like just miss it by a week. So if there ever does come the opportunity for me to hit it up, I probably would, give that a go while I'm down there. So, yeah. But yeah, my days of traveling all over the place like a chicken with his head cut off to go to a comic convention is way over. New York Comic Con is enough. New York Comic Con.
You don't even go to the ones that are local. Like you didn't go to FlameCon last year.
I know.
You didn't go to the Brooklyn Independent Comics Showcase, which I'm gonna talk up the closer we get to it because anyone in New York area should go because it's free and it's huge.
When is it?
Wait, who said that? What?
I did. When is it?
It's usually, I think last year it was in March. Maybe it's in April. I'm sorry, I don't know offhand. I will have to Google this info. Independent Comics Showcase because it's usually at Industry City.
So it's going to be April 18th through 19th this year in Industry City.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a giant artist alley, and it's been free every single year. So you can just pop in, say hi to all your friends, buy like a few little things, and get out. It doesn't have to eat all your time, and it was a lovely experience. Just it's a weird venue, I think, is its only real drawback.
Chances are I probably will make at least that in FlameCon this year. FlameCon I'm almost certainly going to be in town for. So that's a lot more likely this year. And
Yeah.
any of you wondering, Chris and I probably will have a small episode either recorded sometime this week or early next week where we go over to Toy Fair, just because I did actually wind up having a day there in the end after Tim Sheridan roasted me about it. It turns out I did actually have an opportunity to be there for a day, and Chris was there for how many days did you wind up there, Chris? Just a second.
I just did Saturday, Sunday. I made it. I drew my line in the sand that I'm like, look, I don't need to be here all 4 days. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be here all 4 days. I'm not being paid to be here all 4 days.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
So,
Look,
Yeah.
Jamal, have you ever been to BlurredCon?
No, I haven't.
I'd be very interested to go. I know I think it's like right either before or after SDCC, so the travel is difficult. I have a cousin who's gone there a couple times. It looks fun, but it's also pretty new. I think it's been around for like
Yeah, no, it's
4
been
or so
around for.
years.
I know of it. It's been around for a very long, for at least like over a decade.
yeah. This
Oh,
year's
Really?
this
Over a
year.
decade?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and this year's way earlier. In fact, actually, you're definitely not going to it because it's like in a week. It's
Oh, damn.
March 6th through 8th, 2026 is when this year's BlurredCon is. So yeah, it used to be later in the year though. That much I definitely know. So that must be a new
Yeah.
thing that it's in March.
I mean, it depends on what dates you can get. That's what it always comes down to. I mean, it's not like New York Comic Con wanted to be in February.
Oh my God, yeah, and guess what? When it moved, every New Yorker was happy because just no. And this was before there was a 7
Freezing.
train stop. This was before there was the stop right by Javits. So we used to have to lug our asses from from 34th Street and walk all the way over to 11th Avenue, which is long frickin' walk in the cold uphill both ways in the snow. Like it was
Fuck that.
not
Oh.
fun.
Yeah, I think it's just an example of why we hate taking that walk because
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
bleak and long, and that kind of shit can happen.
Well, you know what wasn't bleak and long? Wonder Man. So
Hey, nice transition.
Hey.
thank you very much. In fact, it was brisk. It was like a nice brisk stroll. As most episodes were. In fact, there was an episode that was about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
They were not pussyfooting around with this one. They were going to tell the story that they wanted to tell in 8 episodes, as long as it took to tell it. All released in one shot, day before my birthday, January 27th, and I will start us off just by saying that I think out of all the Marvel shows that have been released so far, I think Wonder Man might be my favorite. And
I think that's a very intelligent thing to come to.
yeah. It is a story that is literally about storytelling. And
Right.
like we've been getting a lot of this lately, and it's usually what winds up getting nominated for Best Picture, by the way, because like if you make a movie about Hollywood, you're probably going to be nominated for Best Picture. Like that's just the way it goes with the Academy Awards. Like this is either about a divorced dad dealing with being a divorced dad, or it's something about making movies. Great.
Or the Holocaust.
Or the Holocaust, and then guess what? You're nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
This is literally a Marvel show about making a Marvel show, and because of that, like that meta switch is flipped just enough to have you completely interested in what's going on. And Trevor Slattery has never been more interesting. I think that the story that was told with him, like dealing with the in between of am I actually becoming this guy's friend, or am I just trying to save my own ass?
Right.
Everything that Simon Williams dealt with, both as a person and as somebody trying to hide his powers, like I was whole hog in on this show, and I'd love to get what you guys thought about it as well, so I don't have to talk that much. But we'll start it off. We'll start it off with you, Jamal.
So I really enjoyed it. I think one of the things that kind of gets lost in the whole translation is that it's also kind of a coming out story as well. Um, it's a coming out story. There's some like allusions to people with neurodivergency as well.
Yep.
So I think it worked. And I think as a show, as a story, it works on multiple levels. The idea that Simon does not have friends, is always afraid of his secret getting out or hurting someone or, really just being this sort of isolated individual. And what was it episode 6? The birthday party?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was like 4 or something.
Where
Yeah, it's earlier in the show.
it's
Yeah.
earlier. It's early in the show, but his mother talking about Simon not really talking to anybody and her assuming that he was okay with not having any friends. He was fine with his Criterion collection and his plays and everything, and him finally saying thank you to his mother. Like it, I felt that.
Yeah.
Right. Like I really, really felt that because I was that isolated kid too.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite as isolated, but I've felt that in my life. So, and then, you go to Trevor Slattery. Dear Trevor Slattery, who wants nothing more than not just to, and it's less about him saving his own ass. It's again like Simon, like he wants that spotlight. He had that spotlight, but infamously as a Mandarin. And in Trevor's, like when you ultimately think about Trevor's story arc, it really becomes a story about typecasting.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
As an older actor, you get known for one role, and that's what everybody thinks of you. So you're sort of stuck, and you become stuck in that idea as well. Am I just this thing, or can I be more? And I think he proved that he could be more by the end of the story. So those are my overall thoughts about Wonder Man. I loved it. I thought it was great. It took me like an episode or two to really kind of get into it and get it. But once I did, like I was locked in. I shotgunned the entire series.
Nice. Brent.
I liked it. I was in the comic timing group chat being like, fuck this show. Again, we don't get a costume till the last episode, and no powers at all, was the reports coming out. And then I sat down and I watched episode 1 and I was like, okay. And then I watched 2 and I was like, okay. And then I think by 3 I was like, and Ben Kingsley started showing up. He wasn't just like a one-time guest star, because you never know with these Marvel shows. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they could just get him and milk him and put him in 5 different costumes and be like, yeah, he's in the show the whole time. And it's like, no, not really. But yeah, to have those 2 guys be like the number 1 and number 2 of the show, I thought was really smart. The way they played off each other, and you were like, you really did feel their friendship by the end of the show, and I was like, that is super cool. So yeah, I mean, I still love everything Yahya Abdul-Mateen has done so far. I really love him as an actor, so I was kind of in for him in general, and then I was like, I don't know about the no costumes, because I kind of hate that trope of these Marvel shows. But yeah, man, they got me. It's worth watching.
It warrants the no costume. In its own premise, it warrants the no costume. Quite frankly.
Once they like start moving along, I think it's like, all right, this is you get by the second episode, I think, that this is not about him becoming a superhero. It's about him becoming an actor.
Right.
So once you're along for that ride, that you're gonna have a great time.
Yep.
So can I jump back in real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So one of the things in the series that they establish about Simon's character is, and having done a little acting in my past, like him getting into his own head and over analyzing everything and not like being able to be in the moment and but also like being incredibly knowledgeable about a lot of different shit.
Yeah.
Like even in his over analysis, which goes back to the neurodivergent thing, like having a little bit of knowledge about a lot of different subjects, and then really it's just sort of like overthinking to the point where he's kind of pushing people away and pushing his opportunities away. So that was one of the other things that really just kind of stood out to me and really gave Simon's character. It made Simon's character a little bit fuller for me.
Definitely,
even from the beginning.
And now that you bring it up, like I mean, I think about my evolution as a podcaster, which I've been thinking about a lot since I re-listened to myself as a child 20 years ago for a little bit, and I remember when. Back in the day, and Brent, you'll remember this because the difference between me putting out an edited episode and you putting out an edited episode back in the day was like I was meticulous about getting rid of all the ums and the knows and the and shit like that in the beginning because I felt like that was something that you had to do because like you got to be meticulous about every little detail about these things to make it sound professional. And then eventually the realization came to me. Knock it off.
Well, it was. I tried it a couple of times, and it was just so time consuming. And I think you were trained in the radio broadcast business.
Well, yeah,
that's
exactly.
your degree.
Yeah.
Like you went to school, and they were like, "This is unprofessional. You must produce a nice edited piece." And you were doing that with Geek Speak Report.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're listening to us talk for conversation. Like this is too much of a pain in the ass.
I mean, again, when you come from radio and stuff and it's professionally produced, and there are podcasts that are professionally produced and they clean it up. When you're doing
but they're
it
paying
as
someone else to do it. Oh yeah, I know what my waveform looks like still to this day.
The thing is, this is not just podcasting, but it's like all art. When we talk about this is literally what you were describing, Ian, is the perfect is the enemy of the good.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
The fact is, if you have to take the time out to clean up the recording, which is not necessarily a bad thing, it's actually an admirable thing to do. But if it's keeping you from putting out episodes regularly, then it's your enemy. It's not, it's not. It's nice to hear you, acknowledge that. I remember when you came to that realization. It was quite a momentous day, Ian Levinstein. It's like for me, I had that realization reading. There's this book. This guy was one of the speechwriters for Obama. The book is called "Thanks, Obama." And one of the things he said in it is that he would get too much of it in his head about the speeches he was writing. And he had to remember, like, everything I write just has a job to do. It doesn't have to be, I'm not writing the Gettysburg Address. It just needs to exist and get its job done.
Yeah.
And like, it's craft. It doesn't have to be art every single time. And that for me was like oh shit. Yeah, maybe I am overthinking, that's, going back to Wonder Man, like it is about art, the show, but at the same time, like his obsession with it being art kept him from doing the craft well.
Absolutely the case, and it takes getting out of your own head sometimes, and it's what Trevor explained to him at one point too about like sometimes you just have to shut off your own brain and just say the lines and. It'll come out better than if you're overthinking literally everything and getting fired from American Horror Story because of it. Like it's.
I love that reference, by the way. The fact that they picked an FX show, I'm like, they can do that because they own Fox now. So
absolutely. But Chris, give your further thoughts on the show.
So, oh man, I thought you were going to save me for last because I have many, many thoughts. I will go back to what Jamal said about like that. The first thing is that it felt like a coming out story. And I've talked previously on the show about how it can be a queer story without having queer characters. Like they kind of leave it up in the air as to sexual orientation. It's completely irrelevant to the story.
Right.
But it does hit all the tropes of like feeling you have to hide this part of yourself, finding someone you can confide in. confessing to the people in your life you care about, and eventually like being public about it and having to deal with that fallout. What's interesting about it is like the not having queer characters in it is that party scene stuck out to me because he brings Trevor to him to this family party, and no one at that party assumes that Trevor is his boyfriend.
Right.
And that really stuck out at me is like, I was like, wow, that's really kind of progressive of that family. That's really interesting. They didn't immediately jump to that conclusion. And then to the show's credit, it kind of explains that. It doesn't have to overtly say it, but when the mom is talking about him not having any friends and being glad that he finally has a friend, then you're like, oh, okay, that's probably why that
Right.
never came up. They're just happy that some other human being is like, seems to give a shit about him. And like
I've just looked at the age gap, and I that thought never even crossed my mind.
Right.
You know,
you don't know enough gay people.
At the end, I thought about it
possibly.
Yeah.
when they're hugging into the skyline, flying off into the sunset. That's when I was like,
Yeah.
But it's also it's also the way that they talk about Simon's powers. It's they always refer to, they never say his powers. They always talk about his secret. Like even his living girlfriend, like the way, if you had it take the powers out of it, and it could just as easily been dialogue from an episode of Queer as Folk.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think that was a brilliant way to handle it.
Yep.
I really, really did. Oh, and hats off to Joey Pants.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Best cameo ever.
That was fucking brilliant.
Yep.
That,
and for it to come back around again at the end of the series, like
that made me laugh. That was a solid laugh.
So good.
Who replaced me in the film? And it's like, you don't want to know.
You don't want to
just not even talk about it.
That was a genuine feeling.
Oh yeah, no, I again, you already mentioned, Ian, about how it's like the self-referential, and Hollywood loves telling stories about itself, which I mean makes sense. It's right what you know.
Sure.
But the episode that utterly destroyed me was the doorman episode.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! I texted you. I side texted you, Chris, outside of the comic timing chat, that the fact that we as Marvel Comics fans and readers got Doorman before we got Squirrel Girl in live action. Like out of all the Great Lakes Avengers that you thought you would see, Doorman was bottom of the list, complete bottom of the list, and they made it work. Like it's a great episode.
He's a what?
He's the second Great Lakes Avenger.
Who's the first?
Mr. Immortal was in Shield.
Right, Mr. Immortal. You're right. Yeah.
But, so the thing is,
I didn't know Doorman until this episode. So
it's a great example of the fact is that we've had the Marvel Cinematic Universe since 2008. So we're now at, sorry, my math is very, very bad on this. 28 years.
18 years.
God,
18 years.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're all old. So the thing is, like, you can do this kind of world building where you kind of address what is it like to live in this universe with superheroes, like, because they haven't really done that much. Let's be honest. We're not doing man on the street stories.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was the point of the Marvel Spotlight series, is to try to give you those more intimate things. And I feel like this was the idealization, the culmination of that is to give you, like, how do you act at a superhero movie when there's actual real life superheroes?
Right.
And how do you still have a special effects industry when there's real life superheroes? Like it's basically the show almost on that side of it also exists to explain these things. Like, how does it affect? And it's not just like a nerdy little, like, oh, we're gonna, today we're gonna talk about this, because again, it has that story at the heart of it about these two friends. It is a show about friendship. This is almost the end of my comment. This is the thing I wanted to bring up, is I'm seeing so much media out now that is depicting close male friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really nice because we get this, and this week we just wrapped up Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is about also like a big brother, little brother relationship, also very healthy and sweet and lovely.
Right.
And a friend of mine even brought up how that also is coming up on Starfleet Academy. How like the guys are just very kind to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
that's one of the things that makes the show just really shine, is that it is just these just lovely little friendships going on in all three of the shows I just mentioned. Yeah.
Everybody
Focus
loves
back,
a
baby.
bromance.
Yes. And here I am waiting for Langdon and Dr. Robbie to make up on the pit. Like
That's next on my list, Jamal. I'm currently going through the Claire Danes show on Netflix.
Okay.
Which is really good. Beasts something or other. But that's that. I'm gonna go through the pit next, and once I'm done with Industry, also because I'm catching up on that. But one more comment before I pass it off to Dono. Josh Gad, I love you, and the fact that he was that willing to play a basically a caricature version of himself in
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, exactly. Neil Patrick Harris himself. That's a great callback there, Dono. Like straight up, Howard and Kumar himself for this role in the Doorman episode. And where's Josh Gad? We don't know. We don't know. He's somewhere in the dark dimension. That's that. And maybe he'll pop up again someday.
One thing that's interesting about that is that like he's playing a parodied version of himself, but he's still like a really nice person in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's actually really supportive, and that's part of what makes it hurt when he disappears into the thing,
Yeah. I thought for sure. I don't want to hang too long on this. We can come back to it after Donovan, but like this episode is just phenomenal. So let's go to Donovan and we'll come back to Doorman.
All right. Sounds good. Dono, your thoughts?
Well, my big point in this is that like somebody on the production team, writing team, whatever, clearly had an eye on Atlanta, because this is like the closest that Marvel has gotten to prestige television.
Yes,
and that Doorman episode is like straight out of like season 3 of Atlanta, where they had these anthology stories.
I literally said the same thing when I was watching it, so I'm glad you point that out. Absolutely, yep.
I mean, I think it works because like even more so than Thor, Wonder Man's the one character from Marvel Comics I've never cared about, really. I'm not a huge Avengers reader, and like he's just somebody that like I just found really confusing, and like the whole like I knew at one point he was in Hollywood and like his powers and stuff. The most I know about Wonder Man was from like the Sega Genesis Avengers video game where Captain America says, "Thank you, Wonder Man." Like that's the extent of my familiarity with him. So like I typically am not a fan of when they try to outthink the source material, but they picked a character that like I could not be bribed in being mad about. And so I think that really works. To be completely honest, I think if it was like a character that I was a lot more familiar with, I might be more inclined to shake my fist. But this was such a unique approach to it. And also, yes, queer allegory, an allegory about healthy male relationships, meta writing, and all that kind of stuff, how it is to kind of produce a superhero show. It still feels like a Marvel story, because you have a main character who is going through something that nobody else is going through, and he's struggling with that. And there's all these secrets. You have this sort of heightened reality with damage control. I really like the way damage control was portrayed as more of a sort of nefarious government agent. I mean, they're a bit of a foil in No Way Home for the first act, but here,
Right.
like they are like they're pretty immoral in this, and I thought that was honest. Um, I mean, honestly, I liked how they did Trevor's salary. Like, I really, I mean, I bitched about Iron Man 3 like when that came out on this podcast years ago, and so I don't have a lot of affection for Mike. I kind of think that he kind of sours the third act of Shang-Chi, but I mean, they straighten him out right away, and he's excellent as a character in this show, because it feels like he likes Simon like right away. Like, there's not really a seasons long arc of him growing to like Simon, and that makes the conflict. That puts the conflict in sharper relief. And so I'm not really thinking that he's going to betray Simon. I think that he's already stuck between a rock and a hard place, and there's an inevitable conflicting end, but it's one that neither person wants to head towards.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it was like the simplest premise of a character who has superpowers and wants to be an actor, but to be a great actor, he has to be most of himself, but he has to hide himself. I mean, I've never seen that before in superhero storytelling. I think that is a brilliant idea. Of course, I'm sure it's with like vampires and werewolves and stuff, but the way they illustrated it was absolutely terrific. And yeah, I think that this is like, I think it's a shame that it's kind of come and gone because they kind of dumped it all at once. But because I think this is truly the best that I've seen. It honestly feels that like, when Secret Invasion came out and people really poo-pooed that, they're like, okay, we get the point. Let's try again. Let's try harder this time. Because I think that the closest that this comes is like maybe WandaVision, maybe early Loki.
Mhm.
Right.
But like I think this is far and away something they should really be proud of, and um, more so than like does the MCU still have it conversations? Like I think that this is indicative of like the height of us like this kind of storytelling, and whether they return to this or not, I think they kind of lampshaded it in the finale, whether they feel like it or not. Um, I mean, this is one of the best things I've seen from Marvel on a quality level in a long time. I mean, this kind of if you were to tier list this, this is A level minimum, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd agree.
And I mean there has been some talk about there potentially being a season 2 of this, whether or not it does actually wind up happening. I'd be perfectly fine with it not happening, quite frankly, because I think it is such a wonderfully contained story. However, the dropping all 8 episodes at once is at least partially because of, well, the same reason that they did with Ironheart, is that these were stories that were conceived in essentially a previous iteration of Marvel's slate, where
Oh, really?
like essentially they did, this was back when they were like, all right, we're gonna make four shows a year, and they're gonna come out at this time, and they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and then like this was mid production when they basically changed that to maybe 1 or 2 shows a year is okay. And
I mean, I kind of thought with
and-
Ironheart, and I might be wrong, but like I thought with the Ironheart that was getting ready to be so maligned by like racist people online.
oh,
They kind of
absolutely.
wanted to like rip the Band-Aid off and get it
Yeah.
over with because they got that
That
done in like 2 weeks.
That is absolutely the case. But also like the initiative basically has come out since where they're only really going to be doing stories on movie characters for at least a little while.
Right.
Or outside of Daredevil, because Daredevil is its own thing. Like we really shouldn't be expecting too many of these smaller characters to get the light of day in TV, which kind of sucks because there have been some stinkers in there, but there's also been some gems. And I think that it really comes with a balance on what works and what doesn't, and finding that balance. And this absolutely did. And this should be an example for what Marvel should be doing with their shows in the future, period. Like,
Oh, no, I absolutely agree.
yeah.
I'm still waiting for them to do Power Pack, but that's just me.
Hey,
Also,
never know.
director was it Daniel Cretton?
Daniel Destin,
Yeah.
Cretton. Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
I mean, I believe he also did Shang-Chi, right? But
Yes, he
this
did.
right
He did
here gives me a-
Shang-Chi, and he's doing Brand New Day upcoming.
That's
Yes, he
that's
is.
what I was going to say. If this is a preview of what we can expect for Brand New Day, I'm really excited. It's just
100%.
the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Really
I mean,
excited.
Shang-Chi had really strong interpersonal relationships with
Mhm.
Shang-Chi and the Aquafina character
Mhm.
and the dad. The action was good, although we don't know if that was like a second unit guy, but like the main core of the acting and the story was great. And since this was all acting, like I hope to God Dustin sorry, Mr. Cretton does a drama
Daniel
film.
Cretton. Yeah.
Hope he gets the chance to do just like a pure drama film at some point instead of being on the Marvel train, because he's a really good director. If this is the quality of his stuff, I'm excited for Brand New Day
Yeah.
and whatever
Yeah.
that's gonna bring. But man, he's an actor's director. I feel like if that's a real thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for Brand New Day just for the fact that they're doing practical web slinging on set.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. And a whole bunch of it was filmed. We'll have to see how much it actually looks like New York, because I know that they filmed a lot of it in Scotland, I believe.
Right.
boy.
So it's going to be. Hopefully they will
They rebuilt
avoid.
New York to look like Scotland. Give it a break, Ian. Okay, give it a break.
Okay, fine. But no. More the avoiding the Amazing Spider-Man 2 of it all, where it's New York. We swear. Like, nah, it's not, dude. Nah, come on. You
So,
just because you filmed one scene in Times Square doesn't mean the rest of the film is New York. Like, come on, lay off.
I would pretend not to care about that, but going back to Iron Man 3, they had that weird scene in Chattanooga, a place I went to college for 5 years, which was there was like a Miss Chattanooga like in the wintertime sexy bikini contest, and
Mhm.
I was like, who made this up for this movie? This is not a thing that exists.
I will say, I mean, again, as New Yorkers, we do kind of nitpick about that stuff. And like, I usually try to let it go because, like, I'll be honest, there are parts of New York that are kind of generic and you're just kind of sliding over that.
Mhm.
But I
Right.
will never, ever forgive Hawkeye for the scene, the chase scene. I think you know which chase scene I'm
Yes,
talking about.
I know the
And
one.
it was filmed in Atlanta. They're driving on the streets. It's clearly not New York. It's clearly Atlanta because it has the overhead street signs that could be like, yeah, that just said Peachtree Street. Fuck you. And they drive up onto the Manhattan Bridge. The next shot is the Manhattan Bridge, and I'm like, what is even going on here? To their credit, though, is because then Clint and Kate get on a train, like they climb onto a train and I'm like, at least that's accurate because the trains do go over the Manhattan Bridge.
No, that's fair.
But it was just like my head exploded. I said, look, if you're gonna pretend like not be in New York and pretend it's New York, can we not do this weird mishmash thing? That looks worse to me than just filming in another city.
Well, and it actually goes back a little bit to Wonder Man. It was nice to see it set in a location that, at least from what I remember, like Marvel really hasn't touched on that much. Like LA hasn't really been touched on that much in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've gotten San Francisco a bunch of times, and other areas like I think San Diego a little bit in the Iron Man movies, but really not much LA. So it was nice.
Iron Man is Malibu.
No, Iron Man's LA.
Malibu. You're right. You're on Malibu.
Yeah, it's Malibu. Technically,
That's what I was
Malibu is
thinking,
not LA. Yeah.
Yeah, technically.
How many times have they gone to New York in the MCU? It was like Avengers, Avengers 2, all the Spider-Man movies, I think, except for Far From
One,
Home.
2, 3, Captain America 1.
Yeah.
The end of it, yeah.
Oh yeah, like 40s New
Yeah.
York.
Mhm. Yep. Captain America, Winter
Hawkeye.
Soldier,
Beginning and the end.
D, so that doesn't count. Like, yeah, but either way, like it's. I mean, yeah, it made sense for this to be filmed in California / LA / Hollywood because of the setting and everything like that. But also in real life, fewer and fewer things are actually being filmed in LA and Hollywood. So nice to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe they still are. That's good.
Yes,
You know?
somewhat. I mean, if they're not being shot in the volume in Atlanta,
Right.
they're doing some location work, or they're being shot in like Prague or Vancouver or somewhere along those lines where they can get a cheaper tax break.
So Atlanta, the Marvel Studios in Atlanta, my wife used to be a PA on some productions before one of her other careers. So she was talking to somebody that she knew from back then, and they moved to Atlanta for a lot of this Marvel work. And apparently all that has now kind of dried up.
Yeah.
The Atlanta production hub's kind of dried up, and it's moved over, I believe, to England.
Yes.
So even the Marvel Atlanta hub is kind of done. Even it's like, really? That in 2018 through 2023, that was like a hot spot for a
Yeah.
long time. And it's
Well, I
kind
know
of
James
wild how they
Gunn
just
still
picked up and left.
has James Gunn still uses a studio down in that area,
Yeah.
like
That's what
Peachtree.
I was going to mention.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah, exactly.
so I've been talking to Ian about this, but I'm surprised if you're saying things are drying up in Atlanta because isn't that where Tyler Perry put his mega studio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which there's
Perry
a video.
Island.
Yeah, there is a 4-hour video out just eviscerating Tyler Perry. Like I have started watching this because
I've
I'll
watched
be
it.
honest. What, you've seen it?
I've seen it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm an hour in, so I'm just like I just needed to because Tyler Perry has always skeeved me out. So, but I did not know that Tyler Perry's studio is apparently the biggest in the world, which is just insane to me. And then you saying that things are drying up in Atlanta, and I'm like, well,
at least for the Marvel stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say there are very obvious reasons that we will not get into because we should just keep talking about Wonder Man instead.
Yes. Yes.
So going back to Doorman, I
Yeah.
thought it was great how they and in that Doorman episode they introduced Josh Gad, and he's like this partier, and you think he's going to be this giant asshole, and then I loved how he turned out like he just likes to party, and he's still a nice guy.
Yeah.
And the fact that Josh Gad is like, you know what, I'll never be this big star, so let's play it. I thought that was so fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
And he never appeared again.
And it was such a natural progression because like it reminded me of so many other quote unquote one hit wonder scenarios in Hollywood where you get big for the big catchphrase and the big moment, and then after that your career kind of fizzles out because what do you do after that? And that was the example here with Doorman. Doorman had the big scene in the movie and made it work, became this national sensation, and then after a bit, both due to his own faults and just not knowing what to do next in his career, it all dries up from there to the point where he, gets drunk enough where he accidentally swallows Josh Gad. But it's.
I don't think that's exactly how it went, but
I mean, it's a little bit. It's a little bit of A and a little bit of B there. But what it does come down to more than anything else is that this was basically another side of Hollywood. This was another side of this was almost like the child star scenario almost.
Oof.
Where, again, what do you do after your child star fame dries up?
Yeah.
You have two options.
Webster.
Yeah.
Anybody remember Webster?
Yes, I do. Yep. Absolutely.
Was that Gary Cole?
No, that's
No.
Emmanuel
Coleman?
Lewis. Gary Coleman
Emmanuel
is
Lewis.
different
Okay.
strokes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But they both had, unfortunately,
They had catchphrases, didn't they?
Yeah. They had catchphrases. They had similar situations. And
Did
then
Webster have a catchphrase?
I don't think
Yeah, I
he
don't remember catchphrase.
I don't think he
No, he was
actually
just
had
cute.
he was,
He
Yeah.
was just cute.
Okay.
he was just cute. Yeah. Yeah.
He was 14 playing 5. I think.
Right. Exactly. Like he had the condition and he was able to, play younger for way longer than he
Right.
probably should have.
Yeah.
But, Hollywood works in mysterious ways. This was
I don't
on
think it's that
Ding
Speaking of
mysterious.
Hollywood, did anybody else at some point in probably in episode 3 where they had the party they mentioned Captain America, wish that Anthony Mackie was in this show somehow?
Wait, what?
If you've seen
Cut
Black
the
Mirror.
check.
Oh God. I did not notice that. No, I did not notice that. Wow.
Put the panda bear, and I still had you on my mind. If those of you who don't know what you're talking about, there was I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 episodes of Black Mirror, but the best episode was with Anthony Mackie and Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Oh God, the
Oh.
fighter episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Oh my God. Well, but can we touch on real quick, similar to the Superhero Registration Act, what's implemented by Hollywood here is, going back to what Chris was talking about, in a world with superpowers, how do you maintain stuff like the stunt industry? How do you maintain stuff like acting as it exists? That the
Doorman clause?
that the doorman clause is created because of this.
Yeah, and it's a clause. I want to make that clear because I've seen people say, "Oh, it's a law," and I'm like, "That's not a law. It's something they're putting
Fair
into
enough, yeah.
contracts so they can still get insured."
Right.
And that's not unusual. That's what I think makes it a very smart bit of writing because Hollywood does that kind of stuff all the time. Like Jackie Chan has to insure his own movies because nobody will insure him. And I think to me that was similar to that.
Yeah.
But they're, honestly, if Wonder Man, if Simon were to become famous enough, he could probably just underwrite his own films. Obviously, it's not going to go that way because of the way the season ended, but that was always a possibility that could have been done. But yeah, going back, it is interesting. Yeah, like the world building in that, and it's not about preserving the industry or anything, but it certainly is going to help it.
Oh,
Help
definitely.
the
I also
normal
think there was a
humans.
decent way towards legitimizing, and I don't know if MC is going to go for this. I should hope they do. But when they bring up the X-Men, like mutant phobia, they're kind of seeding some sort of anxiety of empowered people in the Marvel
Absolutely.
universe.
Absolutely.
And I appreciated, and the creators of the show have mentioned this as well. There was a point where they were going to outright call Simon a mutant. That they were gonna, basically lampshade that he was, a mutant similar to the way that Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, they never explained how
was.
he got his powers.
No, they
I don't
didn't.
believe.
And,
No.
and And frankly, like whether or not they were genetic or whether or not he got them in one way or the other, it wasn't important to the story that was being told. And I don't think it was really necessary to go into that here. You can make your own assumptions, and we will. But to lampshade it entirely and be like, mutant, X-Men, they're coming. Like,
Right.
It would have been distracting.
exactly. It would have taken away from the overall story, I think. Yeah. Can we talk
Yeah, I
about
think-
Dan Kovac, by the way?
We were playing a douchebag to playing like a pretty decent guy, and also a caricature of like most Hollywood directors.
I thought Hawk Girl killed that motherfucker.
hey, two DC actors in Wonder Man here. You know, Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Zlatko Buric. You know, making their way over in this, but
You
really
are doing monologue from Pretty Woman.
That threw me. That scene completely threw out. I was like, wait a minute, is he oh my god, no,
Yeah.
Simon, no. So it does read into the queer reading of it again, like, you know, because it's like, why would you do like a woman's part and not even just any woman, but a prostitute's part? I was like, wow, that's
well, it's not just that, Chris. Also, what I was talking about before with Simon's character, like him overthinking everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and instead of like opening up and feeling like he could, you know, be vulnerable in that moment, he chose a monologue. It's a great monologue.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fit the moment.
Hey, it would have been, at least it was better than him coming out there and being like, you talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah.
There's nobody else here in the room, so you must be talking to me. Like, no. Oh, man. By the way, Andrew, what was his name again? Andrew Guest, the co-creator of this, said that the inspiration for Von Kovac is a combo of Werner Herzog, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Christopher Nolan.
I can see the word of Herzog. Yeah, I could definitely see the word of Herzog.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like that he wasn't a villain, you know, because when you named him, you know, Von Kovac, I just figured that we were heading in a villain direction, and it's just a director, like, you know, like he's just trying to do the best movie that he could possibly do and make it work. And also, Simon, please stop talking. Please stop talking. For the love of God, please stop talking. You're talking too much. And
it reminded me of what's the Lynch movie? Goodness gracious, with that creepy jump scare. But like you know, like Naomi Watts comes to Hollywood to act.
Mm-hmm.
Mulholland.
Mulholland Drive. It reminds me of that because it always it's really something when an actor, not that I think Simon Williams ever performed when he was trying to act badly necessarily, but like, you know, he really knows, like Yahya Abdul-Mateen really knows how to turn it on, and so seeing his levels of performance was really kind of next level. As somebody who doesn't know shit about Wonder Man, obviously I recognize the final episode's costume. I recognize the red suit with the red glasses. I know that Kovac is a name from the comics.
Yes.
I read online that his brother is an Avengers villain.
Yes.
His older brother in this show. Beyond that, what were there any other like actual references to Wonder Man from the comics that they laid in here?
So they not a reference from the comic, but in the comics. They didn't bring this up. They'll never bring this up. It's not going to happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But in the comics, Vision's brain patterns are those of Simon Williams. So, like, what helped bring him to life was basically a brain scan of Simon. So they are quote unquote brothers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because, like, they share memories and
Not
and
Marvel
and
Cinematic Universe, in the Marvel
I'm
universe.
sorry, in the Marvel
No,
comic
it's
universe.
fine. I am fine with them tossing that out. I did read those, in my great reread, and
Yeah.
that when they tossed all that out, I was immediately happy. It's not like I thought the original material was bad,
Mhm.
but there is a lot of stuff that I am fine with it staying on the page and adapting it. We've already brought this up in this call, like,
Oh yeah.
because I'm a big Trevor Slattery fan because I've said this on many comic timing episodes over the years how much
Mhm.
I loved them subverting the whole Mandarin thing. And yes, they eventually gave us the real Mandarin, but I would have been fine without that because
Mhm.
the Mandarin, the original idea was always a racist trope.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this on the
What do
show
you mean?
before, and I apologize. Ha ha ha. Yeah. But now I've completely lost my. Thanks, Dono.
Well,
Yeah.
along those lines, and hopefully this will help you get back on track.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
fine with them tossing out stuff from the comics that doesn't work on screen.
Oh yeah,
You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the Trevor stuff again. Going back to the subverting and stuff like that. What Trevor actually does in this series, the fact that he uses the Mandarin of it all to essentially save Simon and sacrifice himself so that Simon can continue to work in the industry, be Wonder Man, and get his time in the sun, even if it meant sacrificing his own comeback in the process. When he put that video together, which was hilarious, I might add, like it's so unbelievable and yet believable at the same time because obviously people see him as a terrorist to begin with,
Yeah.
so he
Well,
was
it
able
goes
to make it
back,
happen.
as we've already said, the whole thing about being an older actor who gets typecast, and that's
Mhm.
what that felt like to me. I kind of love the whole thing is that it is known that he was the Mandarin, and some people are cool with that, like the kids.
Mhm.
I love that whole like it was such an unnecessary side quest diversion, the whole thing with going to the house to steal the
Uh-huh.
bike, and they're not drug dealers, they're actually making candy. My one of my favorite reveals in the whole thing. I was laughing so hard,
Oh my
especially
God.
with the neighbor going, "There's drug dealing." He's like, "No, I told you it's candy!" Like screaming. But the fact they wanted to do the Mandarin's Mandarin, and it's just
Yeah.
like that was such a nice little slice of life. Like it was,
Yeah.
I thought it was very lovely. But yeah, it just goes into that. Like Trevor is always going to be saddled with this thing, and I mean that's his cross to bear. Like he took the wrong job, and I'm sure there's anxieties about that in Hollywood. Always about taking the wrong job, taking the job that typecasts you or makes you
Exactly.
unhireable.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
My favorite swerve that they did was the episode with like the New Yorker or New York Times interviewer, and the
Yeah.
entire time you're focused on like oh, she's talking to Simon's mom, Simon's brother, Simon's ex, like will she figure out her secret, like he's lied about this or that. They did a great job swerving because they're like spent so much sweat and nervousness on that element
Mhm.
naturally.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, yeah, everybody's fine. Now, Mr. Slattery, you were the Mandarin. And like he folds in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I
It-
love that. That was
well,
such great
sure.
writing.
Yeah, I mean, it also brings me back to when he's first in the audition, Trevor, and the agents are like, he looks familiar. Didn't he used to be a terrorist? Like,
Yeah.
it's just the again evolution of character, and that swerve was great because it proved that Simon's family and loved ones really do care about him. That
Right.
even his brother, even if his brother may not be 100% in his corner, he's in his corner when it counts. And
Right.
this was one of those moments where it really did count. And then when he tells him how proud he is of him at the premiere, there really is true,
His
familial love in the
his
Williams family.
brother was willing to be wrong, and
Mhm.
I mean that makes the brother a good character because you're right, like because he's busting his balls like, oh, you're going on this career, it's not going anywhere, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and then when he's given he's got the interviewer on the phone or whatever, and he didn't badmouth him, he could have, but like then of course if it had come out, he knows that it would have been on him if his brother failed at this point.
Mhm.
And again, to eat that crow at the end and be like, "Oh, you're doing really well. I'm proud of you." Like, yeah, it was just a lovely show all around. Like people just acting like reasonable people with brains in their heads
Mhm.
and compassionate
Also,
hearts.
Also, his ex is played by the woman who was it Judge Anderson in Dredd?
Oh
Is that her
shit,
character's
you're
name?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I clocked
Yeah.
it right away.
Yeah, good call out there. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. But also, before we get to the last episode, now I mean, yeah, here we go. Damage control. Yeah, could someone please punch P. Cleary in the face?
Is
Like
that the guy's name?
that's the name of the damage control agent. Arian Mayoyed is the name of the actor, and he's so good at being a sleazeball.
Oh yeah.
Because like, look, I understood that he was quote unquote doing his job, but from every bit that we got him from, from Trevor at the airport to every other meeting with him, like, knock it off, dude.
He was the most bad guy in the whole show. Like, you never got a sense that he had like a sense of like righteousness or justice. He just like pushing people around.
Absolutely.
Well, it wasn't even just that he just like pushing people around. He was basically trying to save his own ass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his whole little crusade with Trevor was, oh, I gotta find at least one superpowered person to arrest and put in this prison, or I'm gonna lose my funding.
Yep.
Yeah, whether or not they meant it as such, it feels like a metaphor for what's going on now, where they'll be like, "Oh, we arrested 100 illegal immigrants," and of course, when the numbers actually shake out, most of those people were legal and some not even immigrants. It's just about hitting those marks, hitting like whether or not they meant it that way. That's the way it's going to be read. I feel like
is true.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Williams is a threat. Why is he a threat? Well, he just is. Like he has powers, and those powers could power. Like, okay, great. Has he hurt anybody in the past? No. But he did break a kitchen once. Like, okay, great. What else? Like, maybe that kitchen needed a remodeling anyway.
No.
I mean, hey, kitchen remodeling is expensive.
Yes.
You can't be doing.
Did he give Mysterio Tony Stark's glasses?
Oh my God! Wow. Let's just go through the full list of things that
all the dumbass actions that the Marvel Cinematic Universe did. Did he stop Iron Man and Spider-Man from taking the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos?
Oh God!
Did he?
I believe the answers to all of these questions is a big fat no.
He didn't do a damn thing.
No, he did not. He played a character, and I will also add 70s Wonder Man. I want to see that entire movie. I really do. Like that shit was so campy.
I was honestly surprised. I had to look it up because I thought the actor playing the vintage Wonder Man was Glenn Powell. It is not Glenn Powell. It is very much a lookalike.
Oh, I thought it was the guy who played the Hitman remake.
Oh,
and he was on Homeland for a while.
Remake?
Okay. Yeah. There've been like I feel like there have been 3 Hitman movies that have come out.
Well,
right.
Hell no. I hope that's not true.
Oh God.
It was like Agent 47, I think, was his movie.
Oh, okay.
But he was on. I recognized him from
them.
Homeland, and he was the bad guy in Jurassic World Rebirth most recently.
Oh, Rupert Friend.
Yes, Rupert Friend.
Yep.
I thought that half the time and I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. I thought that half the time the classic vintage Wonder Man images were like AI.
Well,
I honestly couldn't tell.
I hope they weren't, but although part of me almost wished. I'm glad they didn't do it. But
actually, if hold on, the actor who played the 70s Wonder Man is a guy named Dane Larson.
Okay, got it.
Hey.
Dane Larson. All right, let's
Dane
see.
Larson. So he's
All right, I'm looking him up right now to see if he's been in anything.
So not the
he
original Dane Larson.
Well, he hasn't really been in anything like big yet, but he's got a couple of projects coming, a couple of movies coming up.
He did play bodyguard Keith in General Hospital, so that's a memorable.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
He's a working actor, and that's this
exactly
will get him that a little bit of a leg up.
Well, think about how close he came. Yeah,
he was also in Ant-Man and the Wasp as a dock worker.
Oh,
he played a dock worker.
Interesting. we came really close to having Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man, and I'm glad it didn't happen now.
Yeah.
Because there was going to be basically a throwaway movie poster in one of the Guardians movies that was going to have Nathan Fillion as Wonder Man in space in one of the scenes that was going on. So
I thought I heard that they did that, but it was like a deleted scene. Maybe I heard wrong.
they did make the posters, but they decided not to use them in the end. Whether Marvel told them not to or whether they just decided not to, who knows? But either way, like this whole series probably wouldn't have happened had that occurred. So,
Well, I mean, some of this stuff is you had mentioned it like an hour ago that some of this stuff is definitely like I don't know when they filmed this, but it was definitely like probably 2024 or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. This whole
these
thing
things
has
might
been
get
in
delayed.
production for a while. Yep.
I remember Miss Marvel came out like at minimum 2 years after they finished filming that.
Yep. Even looking at it here, let me see if if they have anything on the production for it. But yes, definitely partially because of the strike and wow. Filming began oh my God. April 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. And it
I was
resumed
in C2E2 during that.
Wow. It resumed in early 2024 and filming concluded that March and post-production ended around September. And they didn't release it until now.
What was coming out around that time in Marvel in like 2024? Was it the Marvels?
I think you're right about that. Let's see. 2020 Marvel movies. 2024, that is. Deadpool and Wolverine came out in 2024.
Okay, I see that.
Very important Marvel movies: Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, and Venom: The Last Dance came out in 2024. LOL.
So, can I just side note on that? Is that I saw the announcement they were talking about how those movies bombed, but we're gonna try again. And I got so confused because I did not realize Kraven the Hunter had actually come out.
Yes, it did. I saw it in theaters. It was not good.
What?
Yeah, I did. I have AMC A list. Like I see movies. Like that's what I do.
Why didn't he use the same accent that he used in Age of Ultron for Kraven? The same fake Russian, Ukrainian, whatever accent. Why was he American?
I don't know, dude. I mean, why didn't why? God, that movie makes zero sense to me. And now, I mean, again, they're rebooting their side universe because it didn't work. But, why didn't Russell Crowe use the same accent he used when he was Zeus, Because everybody remembers he's Zeus.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, he's Zeus. No, nobody cares. But,
They should just do like, because I was talking I was talking about these movies on the last episode of Question of Answers. And like, they should just do Silk. Like, they should do characters that actually do carry their own stories.
Yeah.
Like, not villains. Like, they should do like they're doing Spider-Man Noir. He had his own miniseries. Like, their Miles movies, which are hugely successful and rightfully so. Like, they should actually like not try to crowbar things that haven't happened. Like, no, Madam Web has been a supporting character for like 40, 50 years that nobody liked anyway. Why would she have her own film franchise?
I know. Yeah. There was going to be a series called Silk Spider Society. That was in production at one point, or at least about to be in production, but Madam Web basically shit canned it, and it's not going to happen. So that was possibly going to be coming down the pipe, and now it's just not going to happen. So who knows? I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about how this ended. Basically, the only way I wanted it to end, which was bro love survives, as first off, the major swerve of Simon going to quote unquote research his next movie by shadowing a security guard at the facility that Trevor is being held at, and then utilizing that to break him out. That scene took way longer than I thought it was going to, and I didn't exactly know where it was going, but once I figured it out, I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And really just perfectly executed conclusion to the show. I think that they really took enough time to make that work, and that he left the money that he did for the security guard as a my bad, like was great too. So yeah,
Well,
That's very sweet.
that dude is not going to have a job in government again.
Of course not.
So
Absolutely not. Yeah,
Dumbass.
he got swerved.
I will say I think that like the ending being, and then he just breaks them out and they fly off.
Mhm.
It feels like a little easy, just because like it was such a suspenseful series. I'm not saying it was the wrong ending necessarily, but like it feels, like a kind of a quick come down after like the huge build up to like what happened at the end of the previous episode.
Mhm.
But I
Right.
did like how smart they showed Simon to shadow this guy, and that was his plan.
Well, to bring it back to movies, Dono, it was The Graduate. It was deciding to do it, and then okay, now what? What's next? Because yeah, now you've broken out, but like, what the hell happens next, man?
If this were a Marvel movie, they would absolutely show Simon and Trevor flying to like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." They absolutely would have done that.
oh, I love the choice to play Everybody's Talking at the
Oh,
end, since it
yes.
ties it back to how
Oh,
they
yeah.
met, and emphasizes again the close male friendship. I
Mhm.
thought that was a lovely moment, because that episode, yeah, it didn't quite sit for me that great because it was rushed.
Mhm.
Because after that slow build up, we're suddenly like, oh, the movie got made. Oh, it's a big hit. Oh, Simon's a huge star. Oh, Simon's doing this other thing now. Like, it just
Yeah, it was
boom,
like
boom,
very
boom, boom,
fait
boom.
accompli. I
It
agree.
was it wasn't really, I mean, mind you, that wasn't the climax of the show anyway. It was all denouement anyway, but it
Mhm.
just, yeah, for a short show, I feel like you shouldn't really be eating up so much of your screen time on that kind of stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah.
still a good episode. It
Mhm.
just felt weird to me.
Yeah.
I,
Brent,
I,
Brent,
I agree 100%.
yeah. Brent, thoughts?
I thought the swerve in the last episode wasn't necessarily the rescue. I thought it was the thing of with his dad. I was like, yeah, we've seen the past a little bit, and they keep bringing up the birthday party. I was like, oh, maybe it's the first time he used his powers. And then once you had like, I forget what scene. I think it was when his dad was talking to him, eating a burger after the movie. I was like, oh no, like he like killed his dad, and that's why
Did?
they're not allowed to talk about it. Yeah. His
What did
brother's
I
still
miss?
around. Mom's still around. I got it that he killed his dad in the accident.
Hmm.
Did you guys
Interesting.
not catch that?
No,
I remember his dad saying you can do whatever you want or you're very talented. I don't. Did he then blow him up?
There's a whole bunch of like daddy issues, and that's why the brother doesn't like him and all this other stuff, and that's why he's giving him a hard time. And at the end of that episode, or when they finally get, satisfied knocking each other out there, I think they say like, "Oh man, I wish Dad would be here, was here. I wish Dad was here." And then they quickly change the subject because it's uncomfortable. And the reason it's uncomfortable is because he when he manifests his powers in the I don't know, I think it's the fire or something like that, right? And they say don't talk about
Yeah.
the fire. His
Right.
dad dies.
It's
This
I
But you
just
don't see
Googled
the
it.
dad. You see the dad
Yeah.
and the mom, or you see Simon and the mom and the brother. After that, you never see the dad. It's
They
not
It's
did
I just
explicitly
mention that
called
like
out.
he did die.
it's left ambiguous. I just Googled it to make sure that to find if we were just that oblivious. I'm like, no, it's actually meant ambiguous. So you
Okay.
Okay,
can read
well,
it either way.
I don't think I'm reaching for it. I feel like it's there. It's just like they're not like making a point out of it. Like it's not This Is Us. You know what I mean? Where they're like, yeah, your dad died in a fire. You're all sad. Um, I think because that was why they started. They kept talking about him. They kept talking about him. They kept talking about this incident. They kept talking about this incident. And in the final episode, you see his dad finally, and you're like, oh, this is why he loves this movie. 'Cause he saw it with his dad right before he died,
Hmm.
right before his powers
There's,
manifested,
there's a
and he
logic to that.
died.
I can follow that.
I could
And then you
I could see where you're coming from
never
with
see
that.
him before
Yeah.
then, but
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys
No,
missed
the,
that.
the
I
show
can't
opened up
believe
with
that.
him and the
No, we
father
didn't
watching
miss
the movie.
anything. We just didn't. Again, it's left ambiguous, and it never
Yeah,
really
but
came up in the show.
it's not. I don't know. I feel like you guys missed it because you guys are all like, "What?"
Well, it's what, because we didn't see that. I didn't interpret that at all. And again, I just Googled it to see maybe there was something I missed. And it's like, no, I didn't miss anything. In fact, there are even people online who are like, I think his father died before his powers manifested. So it's not really addressed in the show. The reason we're like, what, is again because we thought maybe we missed something that you caught, but it's not that we missed anything. It's just you can read it either way. I mean, I feel like it's kind of amazing to me to see shows that are willing to not tell you everything and let
Right.
people read into things. Because I mentioned Night of the Seven Kingdoms earlier, and one of the interesting things about Night of the Seven Kingdoms that's never confirmed, but there are people who are online insisting that they confirmed it, is whether or not Duncan is actually a knight or not. It's ambiguous, and I saw an article earlier today, and it's like, no, it is actually ambiguous. It's left that way on purpose. George R. R. Martin specifically asked that they leave it ambiguous and let people, speculate and wonder about it. And I think that's, there's no pun there for me saying wonder, but just I think that's what Wonder Man is also wants to do, is just like, it's not really important.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, the main part is his father is just gone, and like he had that moment. Whether or not he feels guilt, because I don't read it as him feeling guilt about it, which is probably why I didn't read it the way you did, Brent. I don't read it as him having killed his father in that fire. I feel like they would have been more explicit and
Yeah.
outright said, "Oh, the father died in the kitchen fire." Like that's not a shameful thing to admit. Like somebody, like the New York Times lady probably would have brought that up. Like, "Oh, your father died in a kitchen fire." She doesn't bring it up at all, really.
Yeah.
At the same time,
I don't
though,
think
you
he
would
feels
that, like,
guilty about it. It drives his whole character, though. In my brain, like when that clicked, it clicked for me. Like it drives his whole character. Like that's why has such a drive to be this perfectionist. That's why he's always thinking, because he's wanting to live up to his dad's expectations because of that conversation, eating the burger. You can
Right.
do anything you want. You're very talented. You're going to be fantastic. You're going to be wonderful. Whatever thing you
No,
want
I
to
get
use.
that.
And then when his
I get that part. I do get that part.
he may not feel guilt about it, like you just like, hey, it's an accident, I'm a mutant, whatever. But like,
I
you
am.
know,
I
he's
mean,
like,
it's
I need
it's
to
not.
make up for this. I need to make up for
He
this thing that I did, and that's what's driving him the whole time to be this perfectionist.
he does
That's
he
how I
does
got
seem
it.
to have like shame of his powers. Like he never thinks I have powers. Maybe I should try out for the Avengers. Like he's just like, no, I gotta hide this for my entire life and be an actor.
Yeah,
And
and what
that
would
that
give
could
him
come
that
from
shame
something.
is if his dad died of it because of it.
But
I can
well,
see that.
I think I can.
At this
I
point,
can.
Iron Man's been running around for like what, 20 years or something like that. Like there are
Right.
heroes running around with powers, and if you have this fantastic power like he does, like it would make sense that you would, if you developed it, you'd be like, "Oh, I know what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna go join Shield or
Yeah,
whatever,"
but I
as
feel
opposed to
like
hiding it and feeling that shame.
that misses what the point of the show is for me, is that the show is not really about being a superhero or having
Mhm.
superpowers. It's a show about being an actor in Hollywood. And what made the show compelling to me is that, yeah, Simon and Trevor both really love acting. They love the art of it. It's not about doing good in the world or being famous for either of them, to be honest. It is just about the art of the craft. I did
It's a
share that
calling.
article. Yeah, I shared that article with you guys in the chat, and we can probably put this in the show notes. That the Folger Shakespeare Library has an article about Wonder Man.
Oh wow.
Like this, a Shakespeare scholar was just talking about it, like how much you can see the tradition and the love of Shakespeare in these two characters, and that's like the kind of thing that makes people wanted to get into acting, and how seriously they take it, and that and then they quote Shakespeare a lot in the show. It's like Shakespeare is just very important to actors. I'm not an actor. I mean, I like Shakespeare, but I don't love Shakespeare the way actors do. And that he was saying, like, this show captures that, how, like, that, let's be honest, that obsession with Shakespeare that like actors will have. And I mean, Wonder Man might have been one of those things that made Simon want to be an actor, but I'm not saying it's like that his end goal was ever to be explicitly Wonder Man, to be famous or a superhero or any of that. It's about the love of it. It's the love of the art, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think I I completely get where you were coming from with that, Brent. And I think that leaving it ambiguous like that does allow you to, reach your own conclusions on how the father died. I personally read into it that he died before that actually happened, mostly because the fire happened when Simon was like 13, according to like when it went down, and it felt like he was younger than that when that conversation with his dad was taking place, or at least that's what it felt like personally to me. Whether or not that is the case, I guess maybe at some point, Creston and the others will actually one way or the other, mention it and make that finite. But I think that still leaving your powers secret like that goes back even to, general motivation, but also family and not wanting to scare the family or make them, think of you a very specific way or not. And this has happened in Marvel Comics as well, with plenty of characters, like ones that don't want to reveal their powers. And then they're either forcibly revealed and then they wind up heroes from there, whether they wanted to be or not, or they never even become heroes. They have one instance of power and then you never even freaking see them again. Like,
can I bring up something very relevant to that? Is Dazzler.
Yes, absolutely.
And I can already hear Raph going, Dazzler. But it's so funny because there's that panel, you can look it up. It is actually from an issue of X-Men, one of her first appearances, and Cyclops says to her, "Aren't you curious about where your powers come from?" And she goes, "No."
Yeah.
That's it. It's literally, that's the entire dialogue. Just no.
Yeah. Yeah.
She never was interested in being a hero. The only reason she's a hero is because her career just completely nosedived after it came out that she was a mutant, which was not even her choice. That was her agent/boyfriend who was like, "Let's put that out there. People will love it." They did not love it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mind you, in the comics, there's a whole other different origin story and the fire and all that jazz. So I'm not even going to get into that. But what I will say is, it's important to Simon that he had his father when he had him. And I think that for this story's sake, leaving it nebulous one way or the other is perfectly fine by me. And I'd love to see what listeners of the show think one way or the other, whether or not that, that happened there, or, whether we're just being Captain Oblivious here and Brent is 100% accurate. So, I mean, who the fuck? So,
leaving it ambiguous gives it power because there's so much more meat to chew on.
I agree
that I wasn't left demanding one way or the other, or even thinking about that, to be honest.
Yeah. No, 100% agree with that. And again, that wasn't the story being told more than anything else. Like it was more about, the story that we actually got than that. It would have been a very, very different situation otherwise. But I do hope in the end that Marvel gives us more stories like this, more character-driven pieces, more simple scenarios, more way less of, hey, this series is going to exist so that they can eventually show up in the next Avengers movie and you know who they are.
Right.
Like, no, that's not really what I'm looking for with these type of situations here. So we don't necessarily need a Mandalorian and Grogu scenario for Marvel TV. Like
Exactly.
Marvel TV can be Marvel TV and build the universe as it is, and the movies will do the same one way or the other. We've got, season 2 of Daredevil coming up, which means I should really get around to finishing season 1. But I'm looking forward to Jessica Jones showing up in the new season of Daredevil, and then we're gonna have Vision Quest in the not too distant future as well. So more Marvel TV to come. All right, gents. Before we wrap it up, one more thing of note that I wanted to bring up to everybody, and people on the call may appreciate this, as news just came out today that there is going to be a Marvel Maximum collection of video games that is being released.
Okay.
Yep. That is including old titles such as X-Men the arcade game.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Captain America and the Avengers, which Dono just mentioned not too long ago here.
Thank you, Wonder Man.
Yep. Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Venom Spider-Man Separation Anxiety. Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge, which was a great X-Men game, so I'm glad that's getting there. And Silver Surfer for the NES. Yeah.
I think we had an angry video game nerd episode of that one.
No Spider-Man Genesis, though.
Yeah.
Spider-Man versus the Kingpin?
No Spider-Man versus the Kingpin. No, that's not in this particular collection here, but it's being put out by Limited Run Games, and it's gonna be available for both the Switch and the PS5. So that will be coming soon, and it will be the first time that X-Men the arcade game is available on modern systems. So good to
I think
good
I
to see
played
that
it
back.
as an app
You
on
probably
my
did.
iPad, on my iPhone once.
You probably did because it was available for a while. I remember I think I had a version on the iPod Touch back in the day. But that version eventually, got retired. It was no longer available on iOS. So that's probably where that one came from. But yeah, cool to see these old Marvel games back in the ether one way or the other. So
It's
Nice.
cool. I kind of wish it was Digital Eclipse instead, because Digital Eclipse has been doing like the museum treatment for
Yep.
its re-releases,
Yep.
like where they actually they'll scan the manuals, they'll do interviews, and they kind of add that so you get this like historical context. Also, which company is it? Is it Limited Run Games was getting in trouble for using burned disc for some of their re-releases, or is that a different company I'm thinking of?
No, I think you are right about that actually. So hopefully they fix that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not good because yeah, like I said, I would prefer Digital Eclipse. Yeah, it was Limited Run Games, but we'll take what we can get, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be good editions of it and they won't just be on burned DVRs. So, we'll see.
I can't believe they did that. I really can't.
So it's so cheap. So cheap.
Awesome.
Hey. All right. So that about wraps it up here. You know what? I'll throw it out there real quick for recent reads, real quick, just in case, because we should actually talk about some comics here and then we'll wrap it up. But Chris, you got any recent reads you can throw out there?
Oh man, you know what? I was going to mention this if we did a best of episode, which seems increasingly unlikely the later we get in the year. But I did read Search and Destroy Volume 3. Let me Google that real quick so I can give you some names here. So it's Atsushi Kaneko. There's 3 volumes. It's a retelling of a story originally conceived by Osamu Tezuka. And it was done, the art was done digitally, which I thought was really interesting because it still looks like inked art. It's very clean and beautiful and has that very stark, black and white look to it. The story revolves around a girl who's she lives. The world has humans and it has cyborgs, and they call them creatures. If they're not real people, they're known as creatures. And there's that tension between the two. Like humans have more privilege, and the creatures are all downtrodden because they're just workers. And the girl, the main character, is that she's had a bunch of her body parts harvested. They've been stolen and implanted in a bunch of creatures who are just like, they're like, oh, I wouldn't it be cool to have a human heart? Well, now I do. Yay. And so she's on a quest to get all her body parts back, which basically just means murdering a bunch of these cyborgs. It's absolutely beautiful. It's translated by not really friend of the show, but he is our friend, Ben Applegate.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that makes it no, I think it's actually published by Dark Horse, but he
cool.
works for Kodansha.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm looking this up to make sure. No, it's Fantagraphics.
Okay,
So
cool.
my bad, it was Fantagraphics. Ben actually works for Kodansha, so that's actually a really kind of interesting that he did the side work. I think it's excellently translated. It's written. It's only 3 volumes. You will get it done real quick. Yeah, so that's my recommendation for recent reads.
Excellent. I'm going to throw out there real quick. DCKO, The Kids Are All Fight special that just came out a little while ago. This is Jeremy Adams and Travis Mercer. This is a one-shot that's part of the whole DCKO stuff, but it involves characters that we don't normally see that much of. Hey, Chris, did you know that Leanne Harper got aged up to a teen? Because she did.
Oh, you didn't read Green Arrow?
No, I didn't read that part. So I was not familiar with that. But
She's not sexy, so.
No, she's not. She's just a teen. But Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, Jay Garrick's daughter, Judy Garrick, Leanne Harper, and also Jeffrey Holt, aka Fairplay, who's Mr. Terrific's son, who's also neurodivergent, bringing it back to that, and Quiz Kid, who is Raghu Sitharaman, along with Superboy John Kent. Are in this here, and basically it's John Kent being tasked by the Titans to look after the kids while everybody else is off in DCKO, and there's a whole Granny Goodness arc that takes place where they run off and John has to go try to save their asses because they're getting into deep doo-doo pretty quickly.
Well, we're balancing things out because they aged up Leanne, but they're going to de-age John. So...
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Are they? Is that
Yay!
announced?
Yes, they're de-aging John.
Oh my
When?
God.
Take that, Brian
March.
Michael Bendis.
March.
I,
It's
You
part
know,
of the Reign of the Superboys storyline.
Oh boy.
I feel like we could have a whole episode about the way these companies handle, especially DC handles legacy characters, that they want the legacy, but they don't want to actually have to deal with the legacy, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense to people.
Mhm.
Like,
We could have a whole
oh,
episode about that.
Yeah.
yeah, like we could have, like, oh, well, here's a new character who's going to take on the mantle. Oh, but the fans like prefer the old character. I'm still salty about the whole
Oh, I
Barry
know.
Allen Wally West thing.
Hey, well, look. Another character that shows up in this issue is Irie West, Wally's daughter, who's now known as Thunderheart. By the way,
Terrible name.
I know. Yeah, not a great name for her.
I mean, even the names Mark Waid gave him weren't that great, but that's awful.
No, agreed. But she's definitely been aged up at least a little bit, but that happened years ago. So she hasn't gotten any older than she was when when that was going on. So that's fine. But also
the aging up is part of that problem, though. It's like we don't want the characters to get older, but we want them to have kids.
Yeah,
I do. I want Batman to be 50. That's not old anymore.
I'm
Why
fine
not?
with
I'm
that.
dead ass. I'm not that I mean I'm not needing him to do cartwheels or whatever, but retcon the Dark Knight Returns where he's 65, not 55.
all right. Why not? Why not? It's happening tomorrow. So there you go. No, but hey, Cascane shows up in this as a big character, and there's also some brainwash characters, including Stargirl, Yara 4, Wonder Girl, and as I previously mentioned, Irie West. But this issue also marks the return of one Static, and that made me very happy.
Superhero.
Yep, Virgil has not shown up in a while, and this was the return of said character. Overall, very good one-shot here, so do check out the Kids Are All Fight special if you get the opportunity. All right, Donna, what you got?
Speaking of Static, once again, this has been a big push by the writers, including writer Joe Illidge, who I interviewed as of this recording last week, and that should be out on DC.com by the end of this week. The new history of the DC universe, the Dakota incident. This specifically brings Milestone into the DC universe, and not just in the DC universe, the DC universe continuity. It goes back to the original Milestone comics, although there are some blending of the Milestone Returns season 1 elements in there, but it talks about the past. Like this goes into when Luthor is president, what happened to the Dakota heroes then, and they're really trying to make this be a success, so we can kind of actually get a Static comic out and make the Milestone characters stick around, and showing that there really is a yearning for these characters to kind of stay around for the long run. And so I've read it already. I've had a review copy for it. I'm getting it as soon as I can, and it's solid. It's very, very solid. And these are just terrific characters. I mean, if you've not read the Milestone characters, if you've not read the Milestone comics, I don't know, Brent, if you've ever gone over that on your YouTube page, they're all great. You read the original Icon, you read the original Hardware, the original Blood Syndicate, Static, they're really, really good. So there's just this unending untapped potential there. I also am liking the Batman Static miniseries between older Static and Terry McGinnis Batman from the Batman Beyond series. That's really good. It's fun, it's well written, it's well realized, solid artwork. I'm also I did enjoy Green Arrow before it was canceled by Chris Condon. That was fun. That might be it right now. I mean, manga wise, I'm still reading Hajime no Ippo, but that's unofficially released online. So that'll be that for this month.
Nice. Jamal, what do you got?
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about everything that I'm reading. I am going to focus specifically on the Energon universe.
Ooh, nice.
Skybound. It is
Good job.
really good if you are specifically Transformers and G.I. Joe. If you are not reading those books, you have to pick up those books because Mask is coming.
Ooh.
Mobile Armored Strike Command is coming. As they've announced it at Comics Pro, there is going to be a new Mask series coming out soon. I think either March or April. Not March. No, not that soon. But Matt Tracker shows up in the latest episode of Transformers and
Nice.
GI Joe.
Nice.
So yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
I know one Shane who is going to be very, very happy that Mask is back in one form or another, as he is a huge fan of the Mask characters in general. So
Yes.
yeah, Mobile Armored Strike Command with a K.
Yeah. With a K. Although there is a little controversy because people assume that Skybound were the ones who did this, and because Matt Tracker in Mask is a black man in the comics,
Mm.
and this has actually been the case since IDW, since Mag Fisiago wrote Masters for IDW a few years ago. This was
Okay.
actually something that Hasbro wanted. They
Mm.
wanted Matt Tracker to be black.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. So get mad at the people who actually own the character. They decide, as usual, they're the ones who decide, how these things go.
Well, there you go. There you go. And if
People
you
don't
want,
exist.
and if you want more Hasbro, check out next episode. But yeah, that's yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm happy to hear that Mask is back in one form or another, and I got to catch my ass up on the Energon universe, definitely.
Yeah, so you got Tom Riley on G.I. Joe and Dan Mora on Transformers right now. So
Yep, man, that damn Mora, he sure doesn't do anything. All right, heading over to Brent. What do you got?
I don't know. I'm trying to make my way through top 10 compendium. It's a lot of words,
Yeah, it is.
so it's kind of difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I
Good comics,
just
though.
read Oblivion Song from Robert Kirkman. That was really good.
Mm.
So enjoying that. And then I read the Demon trilogy. That was fun.
Nice. One more thing to bring up, actually. I haven't read it yet, but it's sitting like literally right over there. Mike Mignola's Bowling with Corpses, which is well regarded as one of the best comics that came out in 2025. Got me to rewatch something that I had completely forgotten about until it kind of clicked in my brain, and that was. Anybody remember the Amazing Screw-On Head pilot that aired on Sci-Fi's website back in the day?
yes, just barely. Yes.
Yeah, this was a animated pilot that Sci-Fi put together as a potential pickup. And again, they didn't even air it on Sci-Fi. They might have aired it like once at like 2 a.m. or something like that. But it was available on their website to watch. With voice talents of Paul Giamatti, David Hyde Pierce, and Patton Oswalt, along with Molly Shannon in this 22-minute piece. It's done entirely in Mignola style, and it was really, really good and deserved more than just a pilot. But they never picked it up past that. So they released it in 2006 and stuck on their website for a bit until eventually it was released on DVD. In 2007, and now you can watch a version of it on YouTube that other people have uploaded. I believe Titmouse also has a copy up, along with a mini documentary on the making of it. So if you want to check that out, head to YouTube and check out The Amazing Screw-On Head. It's well worth checking out if you've never watched it before. Good Mignola action. All right, I'm done talking. So head over to plugs, and then we'll wrap this sucker up. Hey, Brent, I'll start with you. Where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube at BK's Bullets for one video a week now. There you go.
Ooh. What's your next one?
I don't know. I have to record it. It's probably going to be my Oblivion Song review. My Demon Trilogy one just posted today.
Nice. Good stuff. Dono.
questions we don't have answers, kingdomwitches.com, myself and co-host Harrison Chute. I'm recording tomorrow with my cousin, but I am aiming for a crossover between this show and ours over at
Gonna
Kingdom
happen.
Hang.
It's gonna happen, baby.
Yes. March. Let's do it. I was really liking the conversation we were having on chat, and I think that would make for a great audio discussion.
Absolutely, man.
So watch this and that space. Also DCUniverse.com. I'm sorry, DC.com. You can find my stuff as the aforementioned interview and various. I've been working a lot in 2026, so you'll see a lot of stuff that I'm writing and putting up there every weekend or so.
Very cool. Jamal?
Okay, so I will be at Lexington Toy and Comic Con March 26th through 29th. You can get more information on that and all my other appearances at jamaligle.com. And and if you want to find me online, it's Jamal Igle. I'm very easy to find.
Excellent. And Chris?
You can find me on Bluesky, lampane.bsky.social. I don't have any articles really coming up, but you can look forward to me and Ian talking about Toy Fair next episode, so that should be fun. And we've already mentioned I'll be at a few shows, not in the capacity Jamal is, just attending rather than exhibiting, but you'll see me at the Independent Comics Showcase and hopefully FlameCon this year. So we'll see.
All right. Sounds good. And now I get to get through an outro without my voice cracking. Here we go. Email address is comictiming@gmail.com. You can find us over at comictiming.net as well, and facebook.com/comictiming. That's where you can find the Comic Timing fan group. Please join in on the conversation there. Full video episodes are available at youtube.com/@comictimingpodcast. We are on Bluesky as Comic Timing. I'm on Bluesky as I Am Sci-Fi, all one word. And you can find us on Instagram and Threads as Comic Timing Podcast. Thanks, everybody, once again for joining us for this one. And for everybody, I'm Ian Levinstein, reminding everybody out there that there's always time for comics.
There's always time for hot lemon tea.